studios. This is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Ballots are in the mail today. Now, Utahns need to make sure they're turned in on time. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson explains.
We have to make sure that our ballots are in the care custody of our county clerks by 8 p.m. on election night. This is new this year, thanks to House Bill 300, and it eliminates ballots that are still at the post office or in transit at that time. Salt Lake County Clerk Lenny Chapman says if you plan to mail in your ballots, be mindful of how much time that will take, especially with newer holidays like Juneteenth happening near Election Day.
The deadline to have your ballot into the county clerk is June 23rd. If it's in a drop box by 8 p.m., that does count. Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary says he's not happy about Utah Senate President Stuart Adams' request to scale back the area of his Box Elder County data project by 75%. O'Leary told the Salt Lake Tribune Adams did not speak to him about this before he sent the letter, and he's not happy because this is not what they initially agreed on. Though O'Leary says he does not plan on outright saying no to the request, he is open to having more transparency with the public going forward. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Iran says hostilities in Lebanon must end if anyone wants negotiations on a peace process to continue. Israeli troops have been occupying areas of the country and had plans to strike the capital Beirut before President Trump urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to call off those plans. Still, ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge says IDF troops are not leaving the country.
What we saw was that the Israelis called off strikes against Hezbollah, the Iranian proxy, in southern Beirut. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had clearly signaled that that was going to happen yesterday morning, and then the IDF even started issuing evacuation orders. What has not changed is that the Israeli military still continues to prosecute its military campaign against Hezbollah in the south of Lebanon. We know that tens of thousands of Israeli troops, are on the ground occupying southern Lebanon.
The president says Israel and Hezbollah agreed to scale back the fighting, saying the talks are continuing at a rapid pace. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 80 points today to 51,159. Coming up, the weather only gets warmer from here. We'll check KSL weather and traffic next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
There's no doubt about it. This is the time of year when we all start focusing on that perfectly grilled steak. Now, some of us are pretty good. Some of us are just okay at doing that ourselves in the backyard. If you're really looking for that perfection in steaks, it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And now, a lot of graduation parties are going on, special events, birthdays, you name it. It's time for you to make that reservation at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Now, obviously, we talk about steaks and how wonderful they are there, but they have so much more. The seafood, the poultry dishes, the side dishes, the desserts, and it's served to perfection. We have two locations. There's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Hotel Park City, and also Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple. It's the perfect steak, and it's waiting for you now at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
The Children's Center Utah provides a unique service in our communities by meeting the needs of very young children and their caregivers. Here's a Little Minds, Big Hope message from Dr. Kyle Smith, the Children's Center Utah's child and adolescent psychiatrist.
Did you know that moves, divorce, illness, or the loss of a loved one can affect infants and young children long before they know how to talk about it? Life changes impact people of all ages. Find out more at childrencenterutah.org.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Let's go to the traffic center. Ricky Meese.
Leftover slowdowns from the morning commute. If you're northbound I-15, it's still a little busy and slow from Timpanogos Highway in Lehigh up to Bangerter in Draper. And southbound I-15, heavy and a little slow coming from Woods Cross down to 6 North. A couple of crashes in the cleanup stages. One is northbound Bangerter, about 70th south. The other southbound Highway 89 by Shepherd Lane in Farmington. Both of those crashes are out of traffic, all lanes open. The Ute Stampede Rodeo and Extreme Bulls is back. Save the date, July 8th through 11th. Tickets are going fast. Don't miss out. UteStampedeRodeo.com. UteStampedeRodeo.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're going to see some clouds this morning, but they should be completely clear by the afternoon. Then highs jump into the mid-80s. Tomorrow, even warmer, a high near 90 degrees. Right now, we're already at 66 degrees, and it is sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Utah's primary election ballots are heading out of the mail today, which means that we are 3 weeks until Election Day. It's actually 3 weeks from today, June 23rd.
That's right. And the biggest races to watch this cycle in Utah are probably the congressional races, at least, especially given our new congressional maps that kind of shook things up.
That's right. Your voice, your vote. We have special coverage of the elections here and some of the big ones around the country for the first couple segments today.
So let's start with Utah's Congressional District number 2. Incumbent Blake Moore was facing off against current State House Representative Karen Ann Lisenby. They took to the debate stage last night. And I have watched this debate. I listened to it. It was really interesting. I would say it was relatively mild, although Representative Lisenby had a few pointed comments, and there were some differences.
And there was one thing that she could attack him on pretty easily, and which stood as no surprise, and that was his involvement with the Better Boundaries. He was the Republican chair of the Better Boundaries Commission. And, of course, everyone thinks that was the impetus for this whole mess that we have in redistricting. Yeah. He took some offense with that, but he sort of stood his ground. But that was an easy target for her, I think. And
one of the other things that they debated, which, of course, was the data center that's right there in Box Elder County. So they were both asked about the role that Utah can play in improving national security with these expanded data centers.
Here's Blake Moore.
In actuality, both are right. Both competing issues are right. They are very important, and we have incredibly important and natural resources that cannot be disrupted, and in particularly at the front of it will be the debate about the Great Salt Lake. I assume that'll be one of the three things that we talk about. But we cannot lose this race to China, because we will do it more responsibly, we will do it with better efficacy, and we will be able to maintain our supreme position in the world stage by embracing and doing it ethically with regards to everything on this AI sort of arms race, if you will. And so I revert back to my statement that I made a few weeks ago. Box Elder County has been absolutely on the world stage on big events. We joined the Continental Railroad. We've put men and women into space from Box Elder County. And this is an opportunity that if we do this right, we can actually continue to be a world leader.
I think this is an important issue for these two candidates, especially Holly, because Box Elder County is in the 2nd Congressional District.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Here's Carrie Ann Lisenby.
Utah has many data centers, and as the legislature has been grappling with this, we passed a bill this year, HB 507, to ensure that these large load data centers, that we are not giving out of control tax incentives to billionaires while we're taxing mechanics on Main Street. So we have to be mindful of those impacts on everyday voters in Utah. And I think based on the signaling from House and Senate leadership and from the governor over the last few days signaling a reduction in the size of the data center, we are seeing that there is listening happening. I was the first Republican elected official to say publicly that we needed more transparency around this, more public hearings, and better process.
So it was interesting to me that when they did the rapid fire questions, they were supposed to have 10 or 15 seconds to answer towards the very end of the debate. The moderator, which was Glenn Mills, asked directly, do you support the data center? And Representative Lisenby said, as it is right now, no. And Representative Moore said, well, it needs to have some improvements.
Right. He was concerned about water, and she was concerned about too many unanswered questions.
Yeah, it was just interesting. And, you know, debates are always, I think they're barely a window into looking at maybe some differences, because you have to answer in 60 seconds. It's really hard to have a policy discussion in 60 seconds. And in fact, Representative Moore didn't have a chance to bring up one of the things that he was really proud of, which is the Trump accounts for kids.
Oh, yeah.
And so he spent his closing statement talking about the Trump accounts instead of, you know, saying, hey, my name is this and this is what I bring, and so vote for me. He said, I just want to tell you something I'm really proud about.
Yeah, I think a lot of people expected the debate in the 3rd Congressional District to have a little more fireworks than that one in the 2nd, but it was relatively calm,
It was
too.
relatively tame. Of course, there was a lot of talk about immigration. That was a central point of discussion and some disagreement.
Yeah, here's Celeste Malloy.
The number one issue a year ago was border security, and we've done a great job of that. The Trump administration was willing to go enforce the laws that were already on the books, and we're doing much better at the border. And now we have to decide what to do with our immigration system. We've always been a country that welcomes people who want to come here, be Americans, contribute. But what we've had for the last 5 years, for the 4 years before this administration came back, were people crossing the border illegally and not becoming part of our culture, not contributing to our tax rolls. And the quickest way to go bankrupt is to have a welfare state and have people coming in who are not part of contributing. So we've got the border under control. Now we need to do two things at the same time, and we can do two things at the same time. We have to make sure we're deporting the people who need to be deported and fixing the legal immigration system so that people who want to come here, live the American dream, and become Americans have a way to do that that makes sense.
So I think the fixing legal is something that candidates have talked about. It feels like for decades, still not fixed. Anyway, here's Phil Lyman.
Well, I think what you find in Congress are certain members of Congress who hate America, and they're pushing for the same policies that are destroying this country. And immigration is one of those. I think Congress needs to wake up and recognize that China has an agenda. When it comes to immigration. Cuba had an agenda back with Jimmy Carter to send their worst, their most vile, their drug dealers, their human trafficking people to destabilize and undermine this country. China has a wolf diplomacy policy of taking over countries through their Belt and Road Initiative. And it's happening all over the world, and we're watching it. And then we go along in the United States as if somehow our virtue doesn't allow us to address those issues. Gad Saad calls it suicidal empathy, and it is suicidal when we're unwilling to look at visa programs that were designed to provide temporary workers being abused and turned into conduits for human trafficking and fentanyl trafficking. A Congress that can't distinguish between those two is doomed to have some serious problems in immigration, and that's what we've got right now.
All right, those were debates held yesterday, and ballots go in the mail today. When we come back on Inside Sources, there's a tight race for governor in California, and a New Jersey congressman is running unopposed in his primary, but he hasn't been seen for 3 months. Your voice, your vote. Our coverage continues after the break.
Some time ago, I decided I needed to lose weight, and I contacted SOTA, S-O-T-A Weight Loss. It was a program that I had looked into a little bit and decided that it made a lot of sense for me because I didn't want to take pills, I didn't want to take injections, and I needed to lose about 30 pounds. Some people didn't think I needed to, but that's because I covered it up really, really well. Anyway, it was all based on diet and food that you can just buy at the grocery store. I had a coach, I had a nutritionist, they hooked me up, told me what to do, and I followed the plan as well as I thought I could. In fact, my results were great. I lost almost 30 pounds in 7 weeks. I got down to the weight I wanted to be at just about a week and a half ago, and I'm very comfortable there, and I want to stay there. So I'm on kind of a maintenance diet now with SOTA. I want to stay with SOTA for a while and make sure that I can stay on this as long as possible. Their program is based on food. It's based on nutrition. It's based on something that my wife and I both felt was very good to deal with, and what they call their dynamic diet. Highlights your personalized approach, and it's really just for each individual. SOTA Weight Loss, SOTA dietandnutrition.com. Remember, SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
I'm Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Wellness starts at home. At Arctic Spas, we have what you need for home wellness. Hot tubs provide physical and mental relaxation, improve circulation, and stimulate better sleep, all while giving the perfect time to connect with loved ones. Swim spas and all-weather pools provide at-home, low-impact exercise, a break from gravity, and family fun. Cold tubs provide muscle recovery, reduce soreness, and provide the best mental boost. Saunas help you recover, detox, and improve your cardiovascular health. This can all be done at your home, ready whenever you are, and you can find it all at Arctic Spas. We are here to help you relax, exercise, and recover. We make it easy for you. You can find out more at ArcticSpasUtah.com or stop by one of our 3 stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George. Arctic Spa, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200 and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
the ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival,
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion and that of the sheriff is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
So it's possible that two members of the same party will head to the general election for California governor because of the way they do their primaries, and a congressman who's been missing from D.C. for nearly 3 months. So across the country, there are 6 states that head to the ballot box today for their primary elections.
Yeah, let's start with a congressman in New Jersey. This is a really peculiar case. He is Congressman, GOP Republican Tom Reen, who's been serving for some time. Keene, can't read with my own glasses on. He's been missing for several months.
It's so weird, right? It's so weird. So he hasn't cast a vote since March, and he hasn't been seen in D.C. since for 3 months. On social media, he made a post in April that said he was dealing with, quote, a personal medical issue. And then it's like, but people don't know, like, is he actually posting that? Is that his staff who's posting that? It is really interesting. And I'm looking at an article that says his absence is starting to really rattle House Republicans because it's really an unexplained absence. And just like, do you remember it was... it was the president who outed somebody's brain tumor. I can't remember what it was, but I can't remember who it was, but he was saying, oh, well, he was dealing with this brain tumor, but we needed him to come back and vote. And so then he was like, well, that was personal information, right? But he still got there to vote. But this representative is just not showing up.
I'll tell you what's also unusual, and I don't know if you have an answer to this. He's running unopposed in a primary.
Yeah,
how do you run unopposed in a primary? Why you have a primary?
No, I don't know how you could have a primary.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll be just fine. It's a competitive district. I mean, it's something where you'd expect him to show up at least after today, after the primary.
So one of the things that could happen is that if he were to drop out before the primary, then there would be that election. But if he drops out, if he has to resign after the primary, then it's the state Republican Party that would fill the vacancy.
Well, today's the primary, so
I know. So I wonder if that's a thing, right? If he's waiting until his people, staff, whatever, if they're waiting until after the primary so that the state Republican Party can fill that vacancy instead of the voters at large. But it's so interesting. He got a Trump endorsement as well, talking about what a great and effective congressman he is. But again, he has not been seen for 3 months and hasn't cast a vote in longer than that.
Well, let's hope that he's okay because it's just troubling. And even the Speaker of the House is like, hey, we need to get him back over here on the floor.
Yeah, it's his staff that's showing up at public events. So they're going to high school graduations. They're doing ribbon cutting. His social media account has regular posts, but I would say that's likely not him.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a really interesting story, right? It's like, well, he's disappeared. I wonder if he's okay, if he's in ICU, if he's dealing with, serious medical issues. We don't actually know. Nobody knows.
Creepy. Hey, you mentioned also something else that I thought was unusual, and that is that out of California, after the primary, you could have 2 people running from the same political party because they do a little bit of an unusual primary also.
I think they call it a jungle primary, but basically anybody who wants to run can run. And now they're after the primary, the top 2 vote getters will go to the general election, but it doesn't matter what party they're from. So you could have 2 Democrats on the ballot for governor in November.
Yeah. Here's more from ABC's Alex Stone.
The top 2 vote-getters for both Governor of California and Mayor of Los Angeles will move on to the general election tonight unless one candidate in those races gets 50% of the vote. Then they win outright. But that's not likely based on polling. For Governor, former Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra is leading polling here. The question is who will be in second place and continue on to November, Republican Fox News host Steve Hilton or Democratic activist Tom Steyer. And for Mayor of L.A., Karen Bass is in the political fight for her life against one-time ally Nithya Raman and former reality TV star Spencer Pratt. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
You could theoretically come out of this with 50% of the vote, and the primary election then becomes the general election. You win, is what he said.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it makes
That
sense
is
though, because
interesting.
if you got 50% of the vote, why continue? You've already got
Yeah, California is confusing.
right. So you could have two
But
people
it's-
from
but
the
it's
same party,
interesting.
or you could have a winner come out of the.
Imagine what that might look like in Utah if we did something like that, because we're such a they're a Democrat dominant state, we're Republican dominant, but imagine if we had two Republicans on the ballot in November for governor, for example, because a lot of these races will be decided in, let's be honest, in the primary that's coming up in a few weeks, right? And so basically the general election kind of becomes a non-issue in Utah in many races, not all.
But that would be really interesting.
It
if
would
that-
be really
It would be
interesting.
a lot more interesting race, I think, because of the primary wouldn't decide the winner.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't see anybody doing that in Utah, but that would be really interesting. So, yeah, so there's a governor's race. And remember, Gavin Newsom is the governor now, but the reason he's not running again is because California has term limits on their governors.
Yeah.
And so he's term limited out, and he's not going to run again. He might run for president. Of course, I see his name out there a lot. But we've got the governor's race, but we also have the LA mayor race, which is really interesting. And I'm intrigued by all these reality TV stars that are running for political office. So anyway,
That mayoral race is the same type of primary and election.
It is,
sounds like.
yeah.
So it's the jungle primary where everybody's in. You're all running against one another, and if anyone, which would be like Alex Stone just said, pretty hard if you've got so many
Right.
candidates running that one person just gets 50%.
just in the LA mayor's race, there are 14 candidates to
Yeah,
choose from.
nobody's
right?
gonna get 50%
So there is an incumbent. That's Karen Bass. There's the reality TV star. There's a city councilwoman who, as he said, was a former ally. But it's interesting too, right? They're focusing on a variety of issues, as you always do in campaigns. So they've got the wildfires from 2025. They have homeless, and they have immigration there as well. ICE enforcement.
You know, in California, it seems to me that I think there are something like 7 candidates, but more than half of them are Democrats, which could theoretically mean they split the vote too many ways, and the 2 Republicans come out as the...
That would be unusual, but maybe.
That would be really weird.
Theoretically possible.
Yeah.
So the LA one, it's interesting because their race is technically nonpartisan, just like our races are nonpartisan, but
municipal races, yeah.
our municipal races are
Exactly
nonpartisan. That's what I meant. Yeah. But they do have, like people will talk about their,
of course,
their partisan belonging. So Bass served Congress as a Democrat. Rahman is a Democrat, and Pratt is a registered Republican. So interesting there in LA.
I've often thought we should have more of our races nonpartisan. I understand the governor and the legislators, but some of the other offices, including the one I ran for, Attorney General, state auditor, things like that, I don't know that partisanship should or really has much basis in that.
I mean, I think the school board races too, they used to be, the
Right.
state school board was nonpartisan and now it's partisan. I think it has changed the nature of the school board. I'm not sure it's always in the best of ways. And I know there was a move in the last legislative session to make local school board races partisan. That didn't pass, but it'll come back. But again, as I mentioned, there are 6 states that are holding elections. So you've got California, you've got Iowa, and Iowa has a competitive primary for governor there. You have Montana, New Jersey, South Dakota, and New Mexico.
And our primary is exactly
June 23rd.
3 weeks from today,
That's
which will be
right.
an interesting one. Not the least of which is because of what's happening with the congressional districts. There certainly CD1, we have 4 Democrats running.
Yep.
That'll be interesting. Congressional District 2 has 2 Republicans. 3rd Congressional District has 2 Republicans. So there will be primaries in 3 of the 4
In 3 of the 4.
congressional districts. I
Yeah.
think CD4 has 1 candidate from each
Yeah,
party.
it's Mike Kennedy
right.
for the Republicans, so there
Right.
will not be a primary
Right.
for his congressional
Right,
seat,
and the
it'll
Democrats
just go to the
running
general.
unopposed as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, how many? I just want to go back really briefly. How many candidates do you think there are for governor in California?
I thought 7.
No. 60.
Oh.
They're not all serious candidates.
Okay.
But there are 60
All right.
candidates.
And nobody's going to get 50%.
And only the top 2 vote getters are going on.
Okay, I had no idea. And okay, well, they just keep showing the 7 or 8 faces. I guess just the ones.
I
that
know,
they-
because
that
those
they
are probably
think-
the ones that are polling above 1%.
Right, yeah, right. Good point. Hey, well, when we come back, at what point does a ceasefire cease to be a ceasefire? We're going to discuss that answer in our next segment.
But first, we want to remind you of our special give-a-thon this Thursday, June 4th. You can join KSL News Radio as we work to help kids and families who rely on Primary Children's Hospital for help, hope, and healing. You can donate today by visiting kslkids.com or texting the word SMILE to 57500. And you can be a smile maker for as little as $15 a month. Our thanks to J&J Garden Center for being our Smile Maker sponsor.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: a person and a dog are in critical condition after getting hit by a car in Magna. Sergeant Amy Race with the Unified Police Department says it was on 3500 South near 8000 West. Two adults were walking the dog and crossed the road, but not at a crosswalk.
We just, want to encourage people, please, while it may take an extra minute or two, use crosswalks and, for drivers to keep their eyes on the road, go the speeds, and just always be cautious, especially in the evening time.
Race says the driver stayed on scene and the investigation is ongoing. A man is facing negligent homicide charges after police say he hit a 66-year-old woman with his car. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The Hurricane City Police Department has completed their investigation and says 66-year-old Tammy Lynn Krause was crossing State Street in a marked crosswalk when she was hit. 68-year-old Wayne Allen Levitz was trying to make a left turn onto State Street when he struck Krause. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. The accident itself was back in May, but the recently completed investigation has prompted police to arrest and book Levitz into the Washington County Jail. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News: when the best soccer players on the planet take the pitch in Canada, the U.S., and Mexico later this month, their World Cup matches will be beamed to all corners of the globe.
In a 500,000 square foot space at Dallas's downtown convention center, the switch has been flipped on FIFA's International Broadcast Center.
Thank you for making it possible to share these emotions and this experience.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino says Dallas was chosen because of its central location in North America, where this year's matches are being played. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The Dow, your money at this moment, the Dow up 141 points to 51,226. Coming up, today's warm. It's going to get even warmer tomorrow and even warmer by the weekend. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Doug Wright, and I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized Connecticut independent dealer. Now, Monty, don't all of the other water softeners require us to basically trust our home's water to electronics? If a power surge happens, a fried circuit board, or the power just goes out suddenly, aren't you back to scrubbing hard water scale and dry skin?
Yes, we believe the best technology is simple. That's why Connecticut's premium systems are non-electric. While other softeners rely on finicky computers and electronics, Connecticut runs on the kinetic energy of moving water. Nothing to plug in, no buttons to push, and zero electricity.
I've had a Connecticut soft water system in my home for many years, and I've never had to do anything to it except occasionally add a little salt. And I love that it never requires me to set or program anything. Dee loves that she always has the soft water. So do what I did and go to softwaterutah.com to learn how your family can enjoy the benefits of soft water without the hassles of traditional water softeners. That's softwaterutah.com.
Hey Utah, have you heard? Nuclear energy might be coming to our state. Now, before your brain jumps straight into sci-fi movies, let's talk about what nuclear actually does. Nuclear technology helps power our nation's submarines, supports life-saving cancer treatments, and produces reliable electricity for millions of homes. That said, nuclear power also comes with some common misconceptions. Don't worry, we get it. Here's a fun fact. You're exposed to more radiation eating bananas than you are living near a nuclear power plant. And get this, a lifetime supply of nuclear energy fits into a single soda can. Despite what some people believe, nuclear energy is safe, clean, and incredibly efficient. But don't just take my word for it. Energy decisions matter, and Utahns deserve the facts. Learn more about nuclear and what it can mean for you. Visit energy.utah.gov/nuclear.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you. Like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Receive 4% cash back on cruises at UCCU.com. Let's check in again with Ricky Meese.
Still seeing a little bit of busy traffic southbound I-15 between the North Interchange and 6 North. On the way into downtown, you're moving, you just may not be moving at the posted limit, as well as northbound I-15, kind of the same scenario. From the point of the mountain up to Bangerter Highway, leftover busy traffic, moving just not at the highest speed. Now, if you're on any of the other Salt Lake County freeways or main secondaries, you're good to go. Right here in your community, Cypress Credit Union helps you prepare for whatever the future holds. Learn more at cypresscu.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're going to see clouds this morning. This should be gone by this afternoon. Highs in the mid-80s. Tomorrow even warmer, a high maybe just shy of 90 or even into the 90s. Right now it's already 68 degrees and partly cloudy in the Salt Lake Valley. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. And we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, President Trump said today that he's in no rush to make a deal with Iran right now, even as both sides continue to trade some strikes amid what they're calling a ceasefire.
And look, all of this has me wondering, when does a ceasefire, cease being a ceasefire? Can we even call it that anymore?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's been in place for, several weeks now. But before we talk about that, let's get the latest on the ceasefire from News Nation's Robert Sherman.
Iran saying they'd be prepared to walk away from the negotiations over the fighting in Lebanon or even end the ceasefire outright. You saw a major push here happening over the last few hours or so, coming from the White House directly, with President Trump speaking by phone with Prime Minister Netanyahu, but also speaking with the leadership of Hezbollah in order to try and nail down a full ceasefire between both of those sides there. But it wasn't just the White House that was involved. We've had multiple diplomatic sources here in the region telling us this was a large-scale effort coming from Qatar, big player in all of this, from a mediating standpoint, but also Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, all to try to bring some stability in Lebanon itself. Iran has cast blame directly at the United States for the way that the Lebanese theater has continued to flare up and has not settled, with their deputy foreign minister saying if the decision to attack the capital of an independent government can change with a single phone call, the main question is, why did months of ceasefire violations, aggression against Lebanon, the displacement of its people, and threats to this country's sovereignty continue with Western political and military support? The U.S. view on all of this is very different. Their position is Hezbollah was not an initial party to any of the fighting taking place in the region and decided to insert themselves in the fighting here and has never abided by the ceasefire. But what we have seen here is if you take a look at some footage here over the last 24 hours, despite the fact you had this announcement made about the ceasefire and the stability coming into effect, you have seen rocket and drone alerts going off in northern Israel. You have seen strikes being carried out in Lebanon itself. So there is still instability on the ground in that region there. The hope is that the situation will simmer down and the focus can return to the Iran-U.S. negotiations, but still plenty more to work with here in the imminent future.
So it seems as though the two conflicts are somewhat intertwined, and trying to get one ceasefire resolved and one war resolved without getting the other one done isn't making sense, at least from U.S. administration's point of view.
So it's interesting. I'll just say President Trump is not really happy with Netanyahu right now. Right now.
We won't get into that phone call.
No, we have to. We have to talk about the phone call. So he, all of this is putting things on shaky ground, right? And so one of the things I want to talk about is how do you keep calling it a ceasefire when you keep bombing each other, right? So here's a headline this morning. This is from the Associated Press. U.S. bombs Iranian military sites and then downs missiles Tehran fired at troops in Kuwait. And then another one is the ceasefires in Gaza, Lebanon, and Iran are stretching the term's meanings. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So look, what happened is the president called Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday during about a 15-minute phone call, swore at him multiple times. He called him ungrateful and crazy and then said, "What the bleep are you doing?" So, I don't know what Netanyahu actually said, but one of the things that the president said to him, if it weren't for me, your country would already be destroyed.
Yeah, well, that may very well be true. I mean, the U.S. is in this with both feet, and I think that people are trying to figure out a way to get out of this conflict. And I think the administration is doing whatever he can to get that done.
Well, I see Netanyahu's statement. He released it after the phone call, and he said, "I spoke with President Trump this evening, and I told him that if Hezbollah does not stop attacking our cities and citizens, Israel will attack terror targets in Beirut. Our position remains the same." So it's really interesting because if you look at some of the articles about what has been happening, I don't know that area of the world very well, but there's a Crusader fortress apparently that's pretty deep into Lebanon. Israeli troops captured that over the weekend. It's the deepest incursion in 26 years. So Hezbollah continues to fire. It sounds to me like in some ways, and I think war feels this way a lot of times, although it's of course much more serious, it's the kids who fight who say, "Well, he started it."
Right.
"Well, I'm not going to stop because he started it."
And we keep hearing that there's some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, that they're closer to getting something worked out. And one thing when we sort of introduce this, talking about when is a ceasefire not a ceasefire, it's a ceasefire when you have a rule with Congress that you have to declare war within 60 days or you have to get congressional approval.
Yeah.
So the 60-day clock stops when there's a ceasefire in place.
Well, not technically, but according to the administration,
it
stopped.
Trump's saying, we're not at war. I still have some days left on my 60 days, and Congress sitting back as they typically do lately, and just saying, okay, we'll let it ride out. But Congress needs to jump in, and it seems more and more that they're interested in doing that.
Yeah, it does seem like that. And it's interesting to me, too, that today Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in front of Senate committees. He's got multiple things scheduled, House and Senate, but he needs to go make the State Department's annual budget request. But he needs to talk about this. And one of the things that our producer, Andy, told us before the show started is that yesterday morning, Karen Travers from ABC was asked the question on the morning news here, that when is a ceasefire? And she said, well, I guess it's when the president says that the ceasefire is over.
Right.
Or it's still holding, right? It's not a matter of how many bombs fall or how many missiles fall or how many people are hurt, injured, killed. It's a fungible definition.
If you're a congressional Republican and you're running for re-election, which they probably all are right now,
yes,
you have to wonder how much this war is going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And so maybe it is time for Congress to weigh in and say, this isn't a ceasefire. This is a war. We need to put a stop to it or do something to it. I just wonder how long Republicans are going to sit back and say, okay, you're getting closer and closer to a resolution, because they don't seem to be getting much closer.
Yeah, and you mentioned an election year, and for anybody who's in a swing state or a swing district, you are starting to see more and more Republicans say, hey, this isn't popular in my district. Like, we got to do something. So
yeah, and they might be pressing Marco Rubio on that as well, saying, "Hey, what's our end game here?"
Yeah, it feels like it's hard to say it's a ceasefire when you're continuing to fire. So,
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I do have this question for you. Is it really artificial intelligence that's killing the job options for new grads?
That's what people are saying at Convocation.
That's right. But some new research from the Federal Reserve says no, it's something else. We're going to tell you what it is when we come back.
How to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Looking for the perfect summer getaway? Enter now for your chance to win an unforgettable escape to Bear Lake. One lucky winner will enjoy a 2-night stay for two at Beaver Creek Lodge, a scenic horseback riding adventure through Logan Canyon with lunch included, plus a $100 gift card to Some Beaches restaurant. Don't miss your chance to relax, explore, and make summer memories. Sponsored by Bear Lake Tourism. Enter now at ksl.com/win.
Is it time for a gut check? If the recent volatility in the markets had you logging into your accounts, spending hours researching the economy, and tossing and turning all night, then maybe it's time for a change. What's your gut tell you? Does it want you to bury your head in the sand, or to get serious about creating a plan that can help preserve what you've saved? Capital Wealth is here to help you navigate the overwhelming world of retirement accounts. Call the Capital Wealth team today so you don't miss an opportunity to get your questions answered. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. No one knows when the next market drop will happen, so call Capital Wealth now to get started preserving your hard-earned money. 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Summer has a way of bringing life's biggest moments back around. The first date, the wedding day, the promise that started it all. Duke's Jewelers knows jewelry is more than a gift. It's a reminder of the people and memories that matter most. This anniversary season, celebrate your story with something meaningful. From timeless diamond bands to custom pieces designed just for them, the Duke's Jewelers team is here to help you find a gift they'll treasure for years to come. And while you're celebrating the love stories in your life, don't forget Dad this Father's Day. With distinctive watches, bands, and gifts he'll actually wear and enjoy. For nearly 80 years, families have trusted Duke's Jewelers for life's most meaningful moments. Visit dukesjewelers.com or on Main Street in Springville. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating your story, generation after generation. dukesjewelers.com.
Jane Dawson did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With the money she saved, she got herself a pricey bird feeder with an ultra-high-def camera. Should Jane have just bought a regular bird feeder? Yes. Is it hard for her to admire nature when the camera doubles as the bird's potty? Also, yes. But it's Jane's savings, and if she wants to spend her time watching the digestive habits of the white-breasted nuthatch, we say you go, girl. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
America's best warranty from Hyundai includes a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and 24/7 roadside assistance. Visit your Utah Hyundai dealer for more information.
When American troops withdrew from Afghanistan in 2021, thousands of evacuees fled to the U.S. for protection. Many Americans welcomed their new neighbors.
For the last week, the governor tells me his office has been getting calls nonstop with Utahns wanting to help.
When we saw the pictures and the videos coming out of Afghanistan, we prayed to be able to help them.
But then, what happened? Listen to Stranger Becomes Neighbor, wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Is artificial intelligence actually to blame for a dimmer job market for new college grads, or is it something else?
We all expected that it was artificial intelligence, but the Federal Reserve Bank of New York is out with some new data that looks at these situations. As it turns out, something else is to blame.
The New York Fed now says the unemployment rate among recent college graduates in remotable industries like software development is up marginally since the pandemic, about 1%. Meanwhile, for people over the age of 29 in those industries, the jobless rate is actually down slightly. Experts say that indicates employers may be more reluctant to hire younger generations for jobs that can be done remotely. In non-remotable industries like nursing, there's no notable difference between age groups. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
So that's interesting because we've been hearing a lot of college
interesting
graduation speakers who mention, hey, this is the world of artificial intelligence, and suddenly they get
booed
by students, graduates who seemingly are concerned that AI is going to take over their jobs, but it's something else that's doing it.
Well, I guess that two things can be true, right? Is they are having a harder time finding jobs, and there's an uptick in AI, and they think the two are correlated. But it turns out that correlation is not causation. Right? Yeah, I think it's super, super interesting. So let's break down a little bit what we found. So they were looking at, this is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So they were looking at a Fortune 500 company, and they really did a deep dive into hiring people by age group. So if you're an older college graduate, you're not impacted nearly as much as these young kids.
Yeah, and let's look at the exact numbers because you're exactly right. Unemployment for those under the age of 29 from 2017 to 2019 was at 3.1%. Young people, 3.1%. After 2020, and including the pandemic, it rose 20% to 3.7%. Mm-hmm. People think that's because a lot of employers are reluctant to allow remote workers because you can't train them.
New.
Right. However, with experienced workers, during the same period of time, their unemployment rate went from 1.9 down to 1.8%. So that number got better, like you just said.
I think part of it for me, if I'm looking at these numbers and I'm saying, seeing that they're saying, look, we're hesitant to hire these young kids right out of college. I think they're looking at company culture. How does this person work together? Can they work on a team? Like, I guess it looks to me like these companies, or this company in particular, which is unnamed, is saying, we don't know for sure how this person's actually going to work. Maybe they do work great remotely. Maybe they don't, but we're almost afraid to give them a try. So let's look for somebody who's older and has more experience.
Right, because managers find that remote working makes it harder to train new employees.
Yeah, it's not just the training for me. I wonder if it really is
and just kind of the hands-on working with and continuing to give some real experience on the job market.
Yeah,
on the job, I should say.
So, for example, this is not part of this study, but I saw a thing online about a woman who was working 2 full-time jobs, and she had one job that was a lot of meetings. And so what she had done was create a 4-second looping video of herself acting like she was paying attention. And then she put that up. while she had meetings for one job and then worked on the other job. They eventually found out, but it was a long time before they found out because she was trying to do both things. And she's like, these meetings are such a waste of time, right? So part of it is company culture, I think, for sure.
Do the 2-minute loop. I mean, 4 seconds is a little
4
too,
seconds.
That's a
where you
little,
sit there and blink and
like
move your head. I don't know.
Your record that skips back in the day.
Right. That shows your age.
It was interesting because the unemployment rate among young people went down during the pandemic, as you might expect, and people thought it was because of the pandemic, but then it didn't rise. And so people thought, well, the pandemic was having too many people work from home. We would expect that to change. Artificial intelligence comes into the equation. It doesn't change, and so people blamed artificial intelligence, but it really wasn't that.
But what you have seen, and we've seen this, a very aggressive return to the office policy for most organizations, not all, but most are saying, look, we want people back in the office, and this has happened across the state, it's happened across the nation. And in this study, what they found is once this company pivoted to a return to office policy, they went back to hiring new grads.
Yeah, in my own practice, I remember when the pandemic came out, we couldn't go to court anymore, so they started Zoom,
Remote,
and WebEx, and all these other ways to do court remotely, and it was great. And we all thought this is wonderful. I mean, I could be in court in Logan and St. George at the same time, an hour apart, where you couldn't do that.
Oh yeah,
in a million
absolutely,
years.
yeah.
If you were driving. Now you can, but we also learned, it's similar to what we're seeing here, is that if you're not there. If you're not sitting face to face with a prosecutor, you're not really getting much done. And everyone was just moving the case down the road, like, hey, let's get a new date. Let's put it over. Whereas when you're sitting there in a courtroom with each other, you can get things done. And judges got frustrated because cases weren't getting resolved. And so as soon as they could go back to in person, they did. Even though lawyers thought, well, this is working so well, we still do a remote once in a while, but you almost have to ask for it or have some reason why you're doing it, because judges have decided, I think for the right reasons, that getting back into court makes more sense.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I love remote work, and it's one of the drivers, I think, behind this back to office policy, I should say, is the driver behind seeing a lot of women leave the workforce. Because with the flexibility that comes with remote work, you can also do the primary caregiving, and that's what a lot of women were doing, right? And so what we've seen after this big push back to the office is women are leaving the workforce, the paid employment workforce, and that women of color are leaving at a lot higher numbers than white women. And I think it's indicative of you got to try to find that balance, right? But you do have people for whom the remote work is, first of all, they're very effective and they're productive, but it works with their family as well in this work-life balance thing, right?
See, I got frustrated with remote work at our office because I just felt like I didn't know what anyone was doing. And we could transfer the phones to somebody's house, so we could have somebody sort of go through the emails and everything. But I don't know. I got to the point where I'm like, you guys just come back in the office once in a while, I want to see your faces.
And then there's a hybrid, right? It's like, okay, we'll be in the office 2 days a week and
Right.
home for 3, or, we're in the office for 1 day a week, whatever it is, so that we've got these meetings and the face-to-face. But yeah, I really appreciated remote work. It worked very, very well for my family and myself. So anyway, it's just interesting, right? Is sometimes AI gets blamed. Well, I would say AI gets blamed for lots of things, and sometimes it's not actually responsible.
Yeah, I mean, and more we seem to be talking about AI isn't the monster that it's been made out to be by a lot of people. Maybe there's some good to it. Of course, then you deal with AI data centers, you deal with things that are going on that way. And I was hearing today that Musk, with his he's about to have a IPO for SpaceX. He wants to have data centers in space.
Bless him.
If he could pull that off.
I guess you don't need water for cooling up there. You just use space up there. Yeah.
Right.
Well, anyway, that's interesting, and we'll keep an eye on this. But remember, we had Jay Evenson in here talking to us. Was it yesterday? No, it was last week, where he was talking to us about being able to pivot during technological changes, right? So people are a little freaked out right now and saying, oh, AI is the cause of all of our woes. But jobs will adapt. They'll change. There will be new jobs that come up that don't even exist today. And I think these college grads, they're going to end up being okay. But right now, I know it's kind of scary, and they have a higher unemployment rate than the nation as a whole.
On a personal note, the first couple times I did this show or a show like this, we did it remotely because it was during the pandemic, and it was weird.
Yeah.
We're both sitting there, we could see each other on the closed circuit TV and trying to communicate with each other, but you and I are this close, we can kind of look at each other and talk about things in between. It was this is a place you almost have to be in person.
I guest hosted one time from my house during the pandemic, and so I don't even remember who it was that brought down the whole setup, and they were in a room and all masked up, and I was in a different room, and it was actually kind of fun, although I'm sure it was just a ton of work.
A lot of work for the engineers. Well, coming up next, we're going to take a deep dive into child hunger. As summer begins and kids aren't in school, many kids have a greater chance of going hungry. No Child Left Hungry is our next hour on Inside Sources. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Ballots for Utah's primary elections are being sent out today in the mail. But there are new rules this year on when the ballots are due. All ballots must be in the county clerk's office by June 23rd at 8 p.m., and ballots that arrive after that will not count. A person and a dog are in critical condition after getting hit by a car in Magna. Sergeant Amy Race with the Unified Police Department says it was on 3500 South near 8000 West. Two adults walking the dog and crossed the road, but not in a crosswalk.
We just want to encourage people, please, while it may take an extra minute or two, use crosswalks and, for drivers to keep their eyes on the road, go the speeds, and just always be cautious, especially in the evening time.
Race says the driver did stay on scene and the investigation is ongoing. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: help wanted signs were posted in more businesses in April.
The job openings and labor turnover summary found 7.6 million openings in April, but in terms of people being hired, that number fell to just over 5 million. At the same time, the JOLTS report showed that about 1.7 million workers were laid off in April, about the same as the month before.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow's up 148 points today to 51,226. Coming up, it's going to be in the mid-80s today, near 90 tomorrow. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
As we celebrate America 250, KSL presents Utah Cornerstones, honoring the businesses that built our past and continue to shape our future.
Behind every thriving community, there are businesses working hard to make it happen. And behind those businesses, there's the Salt Lake Chamber. Established in 1887, we're Utah's largest and longest-serving business association, and we're just getting started. We advocate for the policies that help Utah businesses thrive at the local, state, and federal levels. We build stronger teams and stronger companies through training, leadership development, and the resources businesses need to grow. And we connect leaders, innovators, and change makers across all 29 counties, creating relationships that move Utah forward. Small business, mid-size or large, there's a place for you here. Strong businesses create stronger communities. Join the Salt Lake Chamber and help shape Utah's future at slchamber.com.
Utah Cornerstones on KSL News Radio.
There's no doubt about it. This is the time of year when we all start focusing on that perfectly grilled steak. Now, some of us are pretty good. Some of us are just okay at doing that ourselves in the backyard. If you're really looking for that perfection in steaks, it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And now, a lot of graduation parties are going on, special events, birthdays, you name it. It's time for you to make that reservation at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Now, obviously, we talk about steaks and how wonderful they are there, but they have so much more. The seafood, the poultry dishes, the side dishes, the desserts, and it's served to perfection. We have two locations. There's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Hotel Park City, and also Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple. It's the perfect steak, and it's waiting for you now at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Improve cash flow with a home equity line of credit. Here's Ricky Meese.
Speeds are looking pretty good on the Valley freeways, although we do have a couple of crashes. One is an accident. This is westbound Bangerter Highway at 8th West, a little bit before Redwood Road. It's out of traffic on the shoulder. And a crash reported northbound I-15 at the point of the mountain. It's been moved out of traffic to the side. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we should get up to 84 degrees today and mostly sunny, then 89 tomorrow. We stay in the upper 80s until Friday when we'll finally cross that 90-degree mark. Right now it's 68 degrees and scattered clouds in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, as kids prepare to head out for their summer break, many face a very real possibility of going without a decent nutritious meal every day.
No child left hungry. We have a special hour here on Inside Sources looking at several ways Utah kids can still get fed this summer.
Let's start our special in-depth hour with Kimberly Loveland, Director of Child Nutrition Programs with the State Board of Education. Kimberly, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
And can you just tell our listeners, just kind of explain makes perfect sense, but the importance of child nutrition and why the focus on making sure kids are fed over the summer?
Yeah, so during the school year, kids have access to the school breakfast and lunch programs. And to bridge the gap when school is out of session, USDA has the summer food programs that we operate throughout the state of Utah. And that's, again, just to help bridge the gap and provide access to over 187 kids that are eligible for free and reduced price lunches.
What was that number again? How many kids?
187,000.
That feels like a lot, right? So, one of the things that I've wondered about is how do programs like this work, especially down in maybe rural areas of the state?
So this summer meal program is targeted to low-income areas that meet certain criteria. And most of the sites are located along the Wasatch Front or the I-15 corridor. In the rural communities, we have mostly schools and some of our nonprofit community organizations sponsoring the summer food programs and overseeing the sites throughout the rural areas. They can be a congregate site, meaning that the kids come there, get their meal there, they eat there. And some of those rural sites are proved to be kind of like a grab-and-go type meal so that the families can come grab the meals for their kids and take them to where they need to go.
Along the I-15 corridor that you talked about, the sites, would they not necessarily be the schools themselves, or are there other places where these will occur?
Yeah, so depending on what the sponsor wants to do and try to maximize access to the programs, they these summer meals might be offered at a school, they might be offered at a park or another community facility.
So one of the questions that I have is, are you checking eligibility at these sites, and how would that work?
So for our open summer sites, anyone can come. It's open to children ages 18 and under. There's no paperwork that needs to be filled out. We take care of all of that on the back side as we approve these sites. So there's no paperwork that households or children need to bring to participate.
You indicated at the outset that schools have been providing, and I didn't realize this, breakfast and lunch. Will that continue? There'll be 2 meals provided?
For our summer programs, we actually have 3 meals that are available. We have breakfast, lunch, supper, and then some sites will do a snack. So kids can access up to 2 meals or 1 meal and a snack for each day.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know that.
How do people learn about this? How can families get more information about it?
So to learn more about our summer programs, if you're on your internet browser, you can just type in USDA Summer Meal Site Finder. And we have a list of all of the sites that are operating throughout Utah. We'll update that list throughout the summer. And parents and individuals can also contact their local schools to get information. And they can contact our office directly if they need to get more information about the programs in their area.
So Kimberly, what happens on weekends and maybe holidays like the great big 4th of July we've got coming up?
So on the Summer Meal Site Finder, you can type in your address and it'll pop up locations within your area, and then it'll have details for each one of the sites on the days that they're operating or not operating. Some sites do operate over the weekends and provide meals on Saturdays and Sundays. A lot of them are closed for like the 4th of July and 24th of July, but they'll have site details at the site and then also online.
What can the kids expect in terms of the meals? Will they be similar to what they're already being served at the schools, or will they be different? Kind of like you mentioned, sort of grab and go, maybe a box meal sometimes?
So with the meals themselves, they have to have, your 5 main food options of proteins, fruits, meats, grains, and milk. And so then the local operators will determine the menus on how they want to do that and what fits their needs and what fits the needs of their children that are attending those sites. But it'll vary, and you can access the menus through the sponsoring organizations.
Can you tell us how many kids do you expect to serve over the summer?
So last year we served over 1 million meals between the end of May and August.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. That's really a lot.
What a great program. And how do you know how the funding is handled for something like this? It's got to be fairly expensive.
So last year we received over $5.5 million in federal funds to provide to the sponsors to help pay for their operating expenses and their food costs. Our school sponsors can also receive some additional state funding, and that was just about $500,000 last year. So most of it's federal funded, and then some of it is state funded.
Can you tell our listeners who is preparing these meals?
Meals are prepared usually at the local sites. Sometimes they'll be prepared at the school locations, and then they'll be transported over to a park or something like that. Again, it just depends on what the capacity of each sponsor is and what their goals are for operating over the summer.
All right. Thanks for joining us this morning. That was Kimberly Loveland, Director of Child Nutrition Programs at the Utah State Board of Education. And Holly, that is really that's exciting news. That's promising news. And we're going to talk about that more for the rest of this hour. But it's something that I wasn't aware of having existed before. It certainly didn't exist, I guess, when I was a kid. I don't remember it anyway. But I mean, and she even talked about the fact that they're going to be, for some areas, preparing 3 meals plus a snack.
I know.
So if you're in a situation where
you can get 2, right? You could go get breakfast and dinner, or you could get lunch and a snack.
Right, and no questions asked. Just show up, and if you need it, you don't have to qualify by having some sort of financial problem or situation or anything like that. What a great idea.
One of the things I think is important to remember is that I think the numbers are 1 in 5 Utah children are food insecure, meaning they don't know where their next nutritious meal is coming from. And it could be that maybe they have ramen noodles at home, but they can't get protein, right? They don't get enough protein. And some of these sites, most of them, you're going to eat there. Like you go to the park, you can pick up a meal, the kids can sit there and eat. But if you're going to a site where you can just pick them up, like take and go, it has to be a parent or guardian for that child. It doesn't include child care providers, by the way. So just look at those different organizations. But I think the need doesn't go away just because the school year has ended.
Yeah, and it's good that they're stepping up to the plate. We're going to talk to some other organizations as well. But, I mean, the state of Utah, and she talked about really the whole I-15 corridor and on sites throughout the rural part of the state.
Yeah, that's right. So getting out there to serve at least 183,000 school kids that they know of, but they served 1 million meals last year.
Yeah,
that's
good
a lot
for them.
Last summer.
That's a great thing. I hope people who are listening can tell their friends and family members who may not be aware of this, that this program exists, so that they can get hooked up.
Up next on Inside Sources, we're going to continue the conversation, and we're going to look more narrowly at what one actual school district is doing to help kids get fed. Stay with us.
Some time ago, I decided I needed to change my diet and my dieting habits, and I contacted Soda Diet Nutrition because I wanted to lose a few pounds and do so by still eating and not taking pills or getting injections or something like that. They had what they call a dynamic diet because their nutritionists are specially trained to customize a dynamic diet for each person. They did one for me. Everyone has food sensitivities, responses, weaknesses, lifestyles, habits, and behaviors, so a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work. Dynamic diet highlights that personal approach, and they hooked me up with a nutritionist who contacts me every week and says, Greg, what are you doing? And I started this program. It's now been, I think I'm in the 8th week, but by week 7, I had reached my target. That is, I had lost 30 pounds. Seriously, I lost 26 pounds in the first 6 weeks, and it was really just based on diet. And it's food you just buy at the grocery store. It's not like you have to buy their product. It was really a good program. SOTA, S-O-T-A, Diet Nutrition, and they have this tagline. They say, SOTA, say it with me, state of the art.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
This year, Utahns are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country, Utah style, because everything from Utah's red rock deserts to our snowy peaks are worth celebrating. It's our land, our communities. Join us in celebrating our country with Utah style. Join the statewide celebration. Get involved at america250.utah.gov. Brought to you by America First Credit Union.
Escape to the beauty of Bear Lake with an unforgettable mountain adventure at Beaver Creek Lodge in Garden City, Utah. Relax in cozy accommodations, then saddle up with Logan Canyon horseback riding for a scenic ride through the breathtaking Bear Lake Mountains. Take in stunning views of crystal blue waters, aspen groves, and wildflowers. Then enjoy lunch with panoramic views. Unwind with dinner, and of course a raspberry shake at Some Beaches restaurant in Laketown. Adventure, scenery, and relaxation. Plan your perfect getaway at bearlake.org.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. The deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not insurance.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
The new Inside Sources.
As we continue our special hour on child hunger this summer, what are local school districts doing to ensure that their students thrive with full bellies?
Yeah, No Child Left Hungry. Our in-depth coverage continues this segment.
So we did wonder what some specific school districts were doing to help their communities and students in the summer months.
In our last segment, we talked with state representative from the State Board of Education, but we also interviewed Bobby Beach, Nutrition Services Operation Manager with Granite School District, to find out what's going to happen in their district.
We feed kids all year, and we know the need for meals doesn't end when the school year ends. And so we offer summer meals throughout the Salt Lake Valley at 15 Parkside locations to really meet the students where they're at so we could provide those meals.
How do the kids and their parents learn about this?
So we post it on our Granite website. We share it on our personal social media page. We also go out to all the schools and they share it on their social media pages. They get flyers in the mail about it, and we have them advertise on their all of the parent student interaction portal, so they get that information of where those meals will be.
So Bobby, is this an everyday thing, or is this a couple of times a week? How is this working?
So we serve Monday through Friday. Serve between 11 and 1, depending on the Parkside location. The only exceptions to that are some holidays. We have 3 holidays throughout the summer, but apart from that, they can have a meal every single weekday.
Is it the kind of thing where a student will go into the school and sit down like in a lunchroom setting, or they pick it up in a box, or is it different depending on where you go?
So it's very different from what they get in the school year. We operate at park sites. We try to get rid of the stigma with school meals. So it's not that I have to go to a school to pick up a lunch. It's saying I'm going to a park to play with my friends and they can grab those meals. And it's welcome to anyone 18 and under. And we serve a hot meal that they can grab and go at the park site location. So they have to stay and consume the meal on site. But other than that, it's open to anyone who is there and during our meal service time.
Tell us how you get funding for these meals during the summer.
So the summer is through our regular funding. So we get funding from the federal government with our USDA meal programs. So this is just a different subsection of that. And during the normal school year, we operate under the National School Lunch Program. And so this is still the National School Lunch Program, but it's considered their seamless summer option. So we can still continue to serve those meals in the summer.
And the kids that hope to take advantage of this don't have to have a certain financial stigma or problem or setback. Everyone's available to take advantage of this.
Everyone's available. And that's what's great about the summertime. You don't have to apply. You don't have to let us know we're coming. As long as you're there at that park site during our meal service time, anyone under the age of 18 can get a free meal. And we do offer adult meals as well for $3.50. So the parents can still participate if they would like.
So tell us about what these meals are like. You said you're serving hot meals. What could people anticipate during the summer, which can be hot anyway?
Yes. So for hot meals, we offer cheeseburgers, corn dogs. We're doing a breakfast for lunch day because that's one of our most popular menus. Fridays we do kind of a cold meal, so we do a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or deli sandwich. They can get chips, milk, and they have a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables every day they can choose from.
Are they prepared in like the school cafeterias, or do you have some other place where you're getting these together? Because I can imagine that you're going to have a lot of people taking advantage of this.
We do. So we prepare all our meals at the central kitchen in the summer, and then we load those up into hot boxes, and they're delivered daily to each location.
And how many people do you anticipate serving either every day, week, summer? Like, give me a number, some numbers.
So we typically serve anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 meals over the summer at these locations.
Has this program been going on for a while?
It has. We have served meals every single summer. The only difference was during COVID, we had to rework how we were serving that, but we've served every summer.
So one of the things I remember from last year was there was a little bit of heartache or heartburn maybe, about the funding, but it sounds like for this year, it feels like it's pretty stable and there's not going to be any hiccups, we're hoping.
Yes, we don't have any hiccups anticipated this school year and throughout the summer. We have the funding coming in, and so we're going to prepare to feed all those kids.
Hey, Bobby, can you tell our listeners how this has gone in the past, how well it's been received, and the kind of participation you've had, and also who serves the meals, who's there to hand them out?
So many of the staff serving the meals over the summer are the staff that they see at their school kitchens every single day. So they'll have those familiar faces of all their favorite lunch ladies serving those meals. And then we anticipate it's always a warm welcome. We love serving in the parks and getting to see the kids in that atmosphere. We like to do fun activities. We do have an opening kickoff. This is our third annual, where we have crafts, and we like to bring a lot of the community members so they can advertise services that they offer during the summertime. And it's just a very fun way to interact with the kids in a real meaningful way.
So last question, when is the kickoff?
So the kickoff is June 10th from 11:30 to 12:30 at Centennial Park. We will have Utah Jazz will be there, and we'll have crafts, and a lot of the local vendors and community partners, as I mentioned, will all be there so they can advertise what services they offer to kids during the summer.
And I know she said last question, but it runs throughout the summer and up until about the time the school year starts, right?
Yes, it does. So we operate through July 31st will be our last serving day.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
That was an interview with Bobby Beach, who is the Nutrition Specialist Operations Manager with Granite School District. Holly, that's my home district. That's where I went to school. Grade school, junior high and high school, all in Granite School District. I have a special spot in my heart for them.
Well, they're doing some amazing things, right? So like you, I'm learning that they're all over the state. There are going to be places where people can go to get meals.
And what I hope is that people will take advantage of this for the reason that they're hungry and not feel like there's some sort of stigma showing up at a place that's serving food and feeling like, oh, you're going to be outed or something like that. I mean, take advantage of it no matter who you are, no matter what your financial resources are.
One of the things that Bobby said to us, which I thought was really interesting, is that like if you get together maybe with some other parents, you can get a parent meal there, an adult meal for what, like $3.50?
Yeah. It was a very low
I mean, so you can take your kids to the park, the kids can be fed, you can be fed, and it's an opportunity to get outside for one thing and make sure that they have something healthy to eat.
Yeah, and it's not at the schools. They're going to be at sites, sometimes at parks or things like that. It's prepared at a central location. It was interesting. The last guest that we had talked about the state doing it on the state level. And a lot of those were what they called sites, which are out of school or extra school sites, not necessarily inside the school. So it's probably a lot more convenient to show up at a park, an outdoor venue or something like that where you can sit down and have a meal.
Yeah, and people go to parks anyway, and I think especially when we're talking about, look, we're going to make it easily accessible and available. You don't say, hey, let's go to school every day, right?
And good for the feds and the state and the school districts who are doing this. I mean, $5 million grant that I think what they said that the state was getting. Granite School District is one of the bigger school districts in the state, I assume. They must be spending $1 million or more dollars. And this is just something that nationally and locally, we've decided it's important enough that kids shouldn't go hungry, because I just never thought about it, because when I was in school, we had school lunch every day, but then in the summer you sort of did it on your own. But there are people that just can't do it on their own. You know, I was blessed. I was in a family that could afford to have meals all the time, but some people don't have that same blessing. And I just can't say enough good about this program. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, I do. I think it's remarkable. I think it's very hopeful. I wonder, right, how it ebbs and flows. So my guess is that some days, if they have 2,000 kids, some days they may only have 1,000, right? Maybe around peak vacation time. I don't know. I'm only making an assumption. But overall, 1 million meals served across the state. And then Granite School District is expecting to serve 1,500 to 2,000 a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
People don't realize how lucky we are in this country that we are able to feed people even in the times when they're not necessarily going to school or when you expect the public to feed them. It's just, it's great. Good programs. We're going to have more too, because we've taken a look at what schools are doing to help the students this summer. But what about some nonprofits around the state? We're going to have more coverage on No Child Left Hungry.
Okay. So don't forget to tune in to KSL News Radio on Thursday for the Give-a-thon 2026. You can help make a difference for kids at primary children's hospitals by donating now at kslkids.com or texting SMILE to 57500. And a special thanks to Utah Hyundai Dealers, a generous sponsor of this year's Give-a-thon.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. An Ogden man accused of kidnapping a 13-year-old girl out of her home last year is now facing even more charges. KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman reports.
Christopher Wiggins was already facing 10 felony charges after police said he kidnapped the teenager and drove her to Colorado back in November, leading to an Amber Alert and a major search effort. But just yesterday afternoon, he was charged in a separate case where court documents say he sexually abused 2 other teenage girls in 2024. The 3 new charges are also felonies, bringing the total count to 13.
Wiggins is set to appear in court for his alleged kidnapping case later this month. We've now seen at least 2 people drown and 2 others nearly drown in Utah in just the last few days. Last night, authorities recovered the body of a missing jet skier at Willard Bay Reservoir, and around the same time, a man nearly drowned near Cardiff Fork in Big Cottonwood Canyon. This comes just a few days after a man's body was recovered from Sand Hollow Reservoir, and a 4-year-old nearly drowned in a pool in Saratoga Springs. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Ukraine was bombarded early this morning with missile and drone attacks by Russia.
More than 70 missiles and over 600 drones, mostly targeting Kyiv, but also badly hitting the southern city of Dnipro. Dozens of residential buildings were damaged. There were explosions on the skyline all night.
ABC's Patrick Revel says more than a dozen civilians were killed in the attacks. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 148 points to 51,226. Coming up, warm and sunny. It's going to sound like that for the next few days. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, honey, I was thinking about updating the house a little.
A little?
You know, new siding, new windows, gutters that actually work, maybe even a new deck.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I called RGS Exteriors.
Well, that's a good decision.
When it comes to upgrading your home's exterior, the right choice is easy. RGS Exteriors specializes in siding, windows, gutters, and decking that transform the look and protection of your home.
Hi, Tim Brown, RGS Exteriors. My family has been building and improving homes in Utah for 5 generations, and taking care of homeowners is something we take very serious. With over 1,300 5-star Google reviews, 21 Best of State awards, and our 10-year workmanship warranty, homeowners know they can trust RGS. Over 200,000 families across Utah have trusted RGS Exteriors with their home, and so can you. Schedule your free estimate today at 801-280-3110, 801-280-3110.
How will we ever defeat the British?
By remembering what we're fighting for. General. A country of our own. That will one day celebrate 250 years.
How will we celebrate, sir?
By going to Strong Volkswagen, where every vehicle is a dime.
Dime, sir?
Yes, 1 dime down at Strong Volkswagen.
Hear, hear.
With great price reductions on 250 vehicles.
It sounds glorious, sir.
Oh, it is. Lease new 2026 Jetta S, just $235 a month, $235. All-wheel drive Atlas, just $432 a month. And you get a lifetime warranty. Lifetime. And financing, sir? Those with a job and a dime shall drive away.
1 dime down.
The 250 sales event.
Save thousands with event pricing on 250 vehicles.
At Strong Volkswagen. For over 70 years, Strong Volkswagen.
Located downtown, strongvw.com.
StrongVW.com.
And no tax, right, sir?
Well,
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Let's get another update from Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking pretty good on all the Valley freeways at this time. We still have the cleanup of a small crash in Draper. It's out of traffic to the right where a vehicle went off the road westbound Bangerter about a mile prior to Redwood Road, so it's approximately 8th West. It's not going to cause you any problem, just something to keep an eye out for. Spring has blossomed in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife, and excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Produced in cooperation with the Utah Office of Tourism. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast, sunshine and 84 degrees in Salt Lake City. We get warmer tomorrow, high of 89. Right now, weekend looks like it's going to be in the 90s. Saturday could be mid-90s. Right now, it's already 70 degrees and partly cloudy, but mostly sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
As we've been discussing this morning, school districts around the state are working to make sure their students are fed this summer, even as class is out of session.
And they're not doing it by themselves. Nonprofits in the state are also stepping up to the plate.
And if you find yourself a little extra blessed this summer and don't need the food yourself, what can you do to help make sure others don't go without?
No Child Left Hungry. Our special coverage continues, and we're joined by Kent Liston, the Chief Financial Officer of the Utah Food Bank. Thanks for joining us this morning, Kent.
Thanks for having me on.
So I wonder if we can just start right off the bat about some of the summer meals for kids and the way the Utah Food Bank is involved with that.
Yeah, and I'd first of all like to say thank you for hosting such an important topic today. So summer, kids leaving the safety net of what schools provide with regard to free and reduced meals has been an ongoing concern of ours. We have a lot of school programs during the school year, and then we flip those programs to the summer feeding program. And then this year we are hoping and projecting to do over 200,000 meals across 73 states in 12 counties.
Well, can you tell our listeners about the Utah Food Bank, what it is, where people can go and learn more about it?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, the best source of information that is updated every day is just going to our website, utahfoodbank.org. We ask for three things: food, time, and money. But more importantly, and the focus of today's call is how we help. And there's a link there. And then the top link is actually our summer feeding program, where children are able to go and access many different sites throughout the state to get these free meals as part of our summer feeding program.
So I want to ask you specifically about rural Utah, because I've seen some of the counties that the Utah Food Bank is helping with the summer meals. Can you tell us about some of the rural counties and what that looks like for people who live there?
Yeah, the nice thing about the summer feeding program is the fact that we do have a 14 meal kit that all comes in a shelf-stable box. And so whereas our distributions along the Wasatch Front are daily, we go out every day and a child gets a single meal. In rural Utah, just to help with the logistics, we are able to do 14 meals at one time and essentially do a weekly distribution, making it more effectively with regard to our logistics and able to reach even more people in rural Utah.
Kent, how are people receive? I mean, how's a recipient known? How do they make themselves known that they need these services?
Yeah, well, we've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of the areas, the sites that we have are repeat areas that we would have visited in prior years. However, sometimes a site will get off to a slow start, but our employees, we have a lot of experience. They will go out and do some grassroots. Let's get some word of mouth going that these resources are available. So we do a lot of planning and reacting because we know the numbers are high. And if we have a location where there's less kids than what we expect, we do go get word throughout the communities to make sure that they show up the next day or the next week.
So one of the things I'm looking at your site on specifically on how you help with summer meals. You have open sites, closed enrolled sites. We've talked about the multi-day meal sites. Tell us about the closed enrolled sites. So those are kids involved in some summer programs?
Yep. Can be a school or summer camps, but those
having a little
we seem to have lost our connection.
Technical difficulty. He froze.
We lost him. Yeah. Well,
We'll get him back in just a second. I'm sure.
Maybe we can find out more about that. They
programs are more structured.
Oh, there we go.
We lost you for just a minute. So can you just review then it can be a summer camp, it can be at a school. These they have to be enrolled in something else.
Yep. It's a structured program to where we can kind of coordinate and know what the numbers are. And then those sites also often do get our hot meals that we prepare, just like during the school year. But and then the open program would be mainly parks, city parks areas.
How important are donations to you, not just financial, but with services and things like that? And how can people who feel like they really want to participate and donate get involved?
Yeah, thank you again for that. And then again, our website has a lot of information, but if food, time, and money, we Utah Step Up. We have generous volunteers, the equivalent of about 90 employees.
We're having some struggles.
And then we are. Did I lose connection again?
Yeah, again.
A little.
Go ahead, though.
You have the equivalent of 90 employees with your volunteers.
Yeah, and then with regard to financial donations, they do tend to drop off as families are, busy with maybe vacation plans. Their kids are out of school. So we do have a summer business food drive program to try and even out the donations we get throughout the year. And I said this earlier, but yeah, Utahns do step up, especially when there's needs. And I know a lot of your coverage has to do with the struggles of higher inflation, housing costs, and things like that. So this year is important as any other. And then alongside our summer feeding program, Utah Food Bank does work hard to source about 6 million pounds of food for distribution a month across all of our partner agencies and our direct programs. So we're working hard to get as much food out into the community as we can.
I think one of the questions that I have pretty much every year is if I am growing lots of extra zucchini, for example, is that something that the food bank can take or not?
Yes, we can. Actually, we are looking for healthy, nutritious food. And there are even some more grassroots neighborhood programs where people actually will act as a collector for their neighbors who are growing food in their home garden, and then they will actually donate it to Utah Food Bank and or one of our partner agencies.
And the food bank is statewide, correct? I mean, they're outlets all over the state.
Yes, that's correct. So over the last 5 years, we've invested heavily in our capabilities. So we added 3 distribution sites, and an expansion of our main one, and then 4 pantries. But we also provide food to over 300 partner agencies, and Utah Food Bank does that where there's not any type of fees or anything for the food that we distribute to our partners as well. No delivery fees at all. So. As soon as we have partner agencies and we set them up and they need food, we'll have a truck on its way.
So just one last question about the business food fund drive. Is that available to any business who wants to sign up and say, hey, I want to do this? And if so, how do they find out about that?
Yeah, great question. So they can go to our website. It's utahfoodbank.org, and then it's /summer. But it just talks about ways to give. We have some different businesses that have been just loyal supporters of Utah Food Bank. We actually over time have asked them to switch that to the summer to even out our funding. And then certainly individuals. We welcome all those individuals to step up and support. And like I said, this summer. It just feels like a little bit different with the rising costs and people struggling even more to put food on the table.
All right. Thank you so much, Kent. That was Kent Liston, Chief Financial Officer at the Utah Food Bank. And when we come back, we're going to wrap up our special coverage with a broader conversation on child hunger and nutrition with Utahns Against Hunger. Stay with us.
You had the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi, and the price didn't change for 5 years. Thanks to the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. Now through June 15th, get gig Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 years with equipment and unlimited data included, no strings, no commitments. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. Plus, you can even try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account taxes and fees extra after 12 months. Regular rates apply to mobile. Select Xfinity. Internet required speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable. $50 a month for 5 years. No commitments. Go to Xfinity.com.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Join KSL Radio's Amanda Dixon this Friday from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
America's best warranty from Hyundai includes a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and 24/7 roadside assistance. Visit your Utah Hyundai dealer for more information.
911, tell me exactly what happened.
My
son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
And I said, Josh, where are you? You need to get home.
And her husband will never be held accountable.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
I'm Dave Cawley, host of the podcast Cold.
Then he starts making phone calls to Susan's phone.
Hello, Susan. We are on our way back.
It's the deepest of deep dives into this tragic tale of abuse.
Where was Josh when Susan disappeared?
I don't know. Of one mother's desperate attempt to escape.
This is me, covering all my bases.
Help prevent it from happening again.
Our focus has and continues to be finding Susan.
Listen and learn by following Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
Inside Sources.
So why all this focus on kids getting food this summer? It kind of seems like a dumb question, really, but why is it important that our kids are fed throughout the summer?
Well, the obvious answer is that they need food to live, literally, but it's more than that. They need food to thrive.
Yeah, they really do. And, I'm the adoptive mom of a number of kids, and I will just say fairly large percentage of the kids that I adopted internationally from orphanages came not only food insecure, but malnourished. And I thought naively, well, I'll just get them home to the United States and I'll feed them and it'll overcome all of these deficits. For some of them, it never did.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are so many people around the world that suffer, but we have things very good here in Utah. And thanks to people like our next guest, Gina Cornea. She's the director of Utahns Against Hunger. Gina, thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And what can you tell our listeners, and this may seem obvious, but about why it's so important that children especially get the appropriate nutrition just for their own development and well-being and growth?
Well, I think, Greg, you said it, excuse me, in your question. It is, obviously to survive, everybody needs to eat, but particularly for young kids, brain development and physical development and being able to keep them happy and making sure that their brains are working appropriately. And when they lose access to school meals during the summer break, that can be really difficult for families. And so the summer food program used to be my favorite nutrition program. Now it's the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. But, there are programs that are summer food, especially, is free for all kids at open sites. And we know with the affordability crisis that people are experiencing right now, any little bit helps. And, families who may not access free school meals during the school year are welcome at those sites. We know that a lot of those families struggle too, and making sure that those little ones are not going to bed hungry.
Gina, can you give us an idea about hunger in the state of Utah? Because I know you've been involved in this space for a long time.
For a really long time. 11.5%, about 1 in 8 households experience food insecurity. One of the things that we're really concerned about, though, is that report that reported those numbers was canceled last year. So with all of these changes with HR 1 last year to SNAP, we know that participation is going down and we expect it to spike, but we won't be able to see that because we don't have the report that gives us that data. So, and it's a really wide variety of people. Seniors, like I mentioned, the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. We talk to seniors every day who are so grateful for a very small benefit. Refugees and immigrants now are largely ineligible for SNAP. So we know that hunger and food insecurity in those populations is going to go up, as well as for folks who are homeless, kids aging out of foster care, and veterans. Their eligibility for SNAP has changed since last summer, and we're deeply concerned about the impact that that's going to have and the pressure that pantries are going to feel. And the future doesn't look too great. I mean, although, there are great things happening, like I said, summer food, Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, farmers markets are starting up, so people can use their benefits at farmers markets and get additional produce. So, it's a constant push.
Gina, can you tell our listeners who may not be familiar with Utahns Against Hunger what it is, how you're operated?
So we are a statewide nonprofit. We've been around since about 1979, 1980, and I tell people that we get paid to complain. And by that I mean we really want to hold our agencies that administer these programs. We want to hold them accountable, but we also want to hold our elected officials accountable for the votes that they make and the priorities that they set in our budgets and in the legislation that they support.
So do you work directly with food distribution? And if not, how do people find out more information about how they can support you and also feeding people on the ground?
Yes. Yeah, so we do not do direct service, so we are not distributing food, but we do work with all of the food pantries, and we work with the Utah Food Bank closely, and on resources, and we represent them at the state legislative session trying to get additional funding. You can find out about Utahns Against Hunger at our website, which is just uah.org. And the thing that we're asking people to do, the thing we always ask people to do, is to call your elected officials, hold them accountable for the votes.
Thank you so much. That was Gina Cornea. Okay. We have some breaking news. The governor is about to announce new Supreme Court justices.
The two nominees right now are Jake Jorgensen and Stephen Dent. We're excited to have them and our families here with us today. Utah's Constitution established a merit-based judicial selection process that puts qualifications, character, and independence above politics. It has become a national model, and it is something that Utahns can be proud of. The Appellate Judicial Nominating Commission plays a vital role in that process. The commission includes both attorneys and non-attorneys from across our state, selected for their judgment, fairness, and commitment to public service. Before forwarding 12 outstanding finalists for my consideration, the commission reviewed dozens of applications, studied references, and writings. Now, after receiving those names, my team and I conducted our own thorough vetting process. We reviewed everything these nominees have written, argued, or decided, and we spent hours in interviews discussing temperament, respect for the rule of law, judicial philosophy, and many other important questions. That rigorous process gives me tremendous confidence that the appointees I've chosen will serve the people of Utah with integrity, humility, and independence, and that they will apply the law faithfully according to the Constitution and the oath that they will be taking. I will say I interviewed all 12 candidates, spent a tremendous amount of time with each of them, had another round of interviews with some candidates, and I feel just incredibly blessed that we had such amazing, qualified people who care deeply and were interested in this position, and that the two of them rose to the top. So let me start first with Jay Jorgensen. I'm excited and have the honor of appointing Jay Jorgensen nominating Jay Jorgensen to the Supreme Court. Jay's life and career have taken him from small town Utah to the highest levels of legal and business worlds, and then back to Utah to serve its people. Jay grew up in Ioka, Utah, which I'm guessing most of you have no idea where that is, but I do, and I've been there, and it's a really cool place. It's in Duchesne County in the Basin. It gives him rural Utah roots that are near and dear to me. Jay went to law school at BYU and on to prestigious clerkships for then appellate judge and now Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito. After that, Jay became a clerk for Chief Justice Rehnquist on the U.S. Supreme Court. Jay then had a 12-year career as an associate and partner with Sidley Austin, one of the premier law firms in the country, representing individuals and corporations in all phases of complex civil and criminal litigation. After that, Jay became Executive Vice President of Walmart, overseeing the Global Ethics and Compliance Program, which is recognized as one of the best in the world. Jay moved back home to Utah in 2021 and went to work for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, first as a mission president in Concepcion, Chile, overseeing the spiritual, physical, and emotional well-being of over 400 missionaries, and then as senior counsel for the church. Jay is truly one of Utah's brightest legal minds, and just as importantly, he understands Utah and its people. We're excited to see him serve as a justice in our Supreme Court, and I'd love to turn the podium over to Jay Jorgensen. And you can clap for Jay.
My glasses. Thank you. As the governor said, I grew up on our family's cattle ranch in Ioka, Utah. And the governor knows where it is, but for those who need a reference, it's between Mighton and Altamont. I want to thank Governor Cox and the Appellate Court Nominating Commission for the trust, for the faith they've placed in me by nominating me to the Utah Supreme Court. It caused me to think about, how did I get to this point? How did a ranch kid end up here? Much of the answer is education. My parents were ranchers, but they were also school teachers in the Duchesne and Uinta school districts for all of their careers. They taught me to love learning. To the current and retired teachers, administrators, and staff of the Utah schools, thank you. Your dedication, the love that you give to children every day, it changes lives. It changed mine. Looking forward, if I'm confirmed by the Senate, I pledge to do my best to fulfill this role and to do it as a judge should. Judges don't make policy decisions. We don't create the rules that govern our communities. Rather, judges have a limited role of applying the text of the Constitution and the laws that the people themselves have made. As our nation was being formed, Alexander Hamilton explained this principle in Federalist 78. He said, "Whoever attentively considers the different departments of power must perceive that the judiciary, from the nature of its functions, will always be the least dangerous political branch. The executive holds the sword of the community. The legislature not only commands the purse, but prescribes the rules by which the duties and rights of every citizen are regulated. The judiciary, on the contrary, has no influence, either over the sword or the purse, no direction either of the strength or the wealth of the society, and can take no active resolution thereof. It may truly be said to have neither force nor will, but merely judgment." The Utah Constitution embodies that same principle. It says all political power is inherent in the people, and that the powers of the government of the state of Utah shall be divided into 3 distinct departments, and no person charged with the exercise of powers belonging to one of these departments shall exercise any functions pertaining to either of the others. So it will not be my role to create the law. If I'm confirmed, it'll be my job to apply the law. And I commit with all my heart to live up to that task. Thank you.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
We appreciate Jay and his wife Melissa, their 2 daughters and their families who are here with us today, and we're grateful for their willingness to serve the state of Utah. Now, I also have the honor of nominating Stephen Dent to the Supreme Court. Stephen graduated from the University of Utah Law School in 2014. He was ranked first in his graduating class and served as editor-in-chief of the Utah Law Review. He also took first place in intramural moot court and won awards for brief writing in national competitions. Like Jay, Stephen clerked for 2 outstanding judges, Judge Robert Shelby in Utah's Federal District Court and Judge Scott M. Matheson Jr. in the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. Stephen went to work in one of the nation's top law firms, Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher in Washington, D.C. There, he litigated appellate, complex, commercial, and antitrust cases at the highest levels, including representing clients before the U.S. Supreme Court. Stephen wanted to come back to Utah, so he applied for an opening with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Utah's Southern District, based in St. George. That's where Stephen has been since 2019, rising through the ranks from an assistant U.S. attorney from Southern Utah's branch chief to the deputy criminal chief for the entire office. He has prosecuted federal crimes, including fraud, money laundering, drug trafficking, illegal immigration, and murder. He received the coveted United States Attorney's Award granted to a select group of top performers within the Department of Justice in 2020, 2022, and 2024. He also taught business law at Utah Tech University since 2021. Stephen and his family have established deep roots and a deeper love for Southern Utah. While this appointment may bring him north for work, his heart is in our Red Desert. Stephen's path has already shown the kind of discipline, legal ability, and character we need on the bench. Through our rigorous vetting process, I became confident that he is ready for this responsibility and prepared to serve the people of Utah well. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium Stephen Dent.
Thank you. I am humbled and honored to be nominated to serve as a justice on the Utah Supreme Court. I thank Governor Cox for entrusting me with this profound responsibility. I am grateful to the Appellate Nominating Commission, the governor's staff, and Lieutenant Governor Henderson for their time and consideration during this process. The legislature plays an important role in confirming judges, and I look forward to interacting with the Senate in the coming days and weeks. I am a proud Utahn. I am a product of this place. In 1997, I came to these Capitol grounds as a student at Upland Terrace Elementary School. That year was the sesquicentennial, celebrating 150 years since the pioneers arrived in the Salt Lake Valley. I remember looking up at the Capitol Dome and feeling immense pride and gratitude for being from the Beehive State. Those feelings have only grown over time. I was raised in Mill Creek. I graduated with an undergraduate degree from BYU and a law degree from the U of U. I served as a law clerk in the federal court in downtown Salt Lake. Since 2019, I've served as a prosecutor in St. George. In that capacity, I've worked with my colleagues at the Department of Justice and other law enforcement agencies to investigate and prosecute federal crimes in southern Utah, covering many counties in the southernmost part of the state. I've also had the privilege of being an adjunct professor at Utah Tech University, go Trailblazers. My years in St. George have given me a deep appreciation and love for southern Utah and its hardworking, common sense people who care for their neighbors and for their communities. Since moving to St. George, my family has loved the blue skies, the red rock, the lasting friendships, and the red sand between our toes. I am the beneficiary of friends and mentors in the legal profession. This profession abounds with generous and kind people who are willing to impart their time and wisdom. I served as a judicial clerk to Judge Robert Shelby and Judge Scott Matheson. They approach each case with great care and preparation, and they treat parties with respect and dignity, even in highly contentious situations. And I am grateful for their examples. From my time in private practice and my time as a prosecutor, I've learned so much from valued colleagues. I cherish their support and friendship, and I thank them. I'm grateful they have held me to a high standard. I'm especially grateful to the Southern Utah Bar, my fellow prosecutors, opposing counsel, and judges in the St. George area are examples of collegiality and professionalism. I'm also glad to be here with Jay Jorgensen. As a young law student, I emailed him out of the blue because I was interested in working in Washington, D.C. I had never met him. I found him online and I saw that he too went to BYU. I sent that email on a Saturday afternoon, and within 2 hours he had responded and set up a time to meet for lunch. And that unusual act of kindness has stuck with me for years. So Jay, thanks for being so nice to me all those years ago. It's good to see you again, and I owe you lunch. If confirmed, I pledge to faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of a fair and neutral judge. I pledge to work hard, to maintain the highest ethical standards, and to treat litigants with respect and dignity. I look forward to working with and learning from the current justices on the court, and I have great respect and gratitude for the service they render. If confirmed, I would be honored to count myself among them. Lastly, I saved this for last because I knew I would get emotional. I am blessed to have the love and support of my family. My wife, Liz, and my 3 sons are the light and joy of my life. They are what motivates me and what gives me peace. The best of times are those times spent with them. I would not be here without the constant love and support from them, along with wonderful parents, in-laws, siblings, nieces, nephews, and friends. Governor Cox, thank you again for this nomination, and I look forward to continuing on in the process and to serving the people of this great state. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, and congratulations to you too. I want to thank his wife Liz, their 3 boys, his mom and stepdad and siblings who are all here with us today. Thank you for your generous support and your sacrifice as well. Now, just a couple words before we open it up to questions. I'll start by just talking a little bit about the rest of the process. Under Utah's Constitution, judicial appointments are subject to the advice and consent of the Utah Senate. Senator Weiler is here with us. We appreciate his leadership throughout this process. I've spoken to the Senate President as well, and he's very excited about these nominations. That is an important safeguard in our system of checks and balances. Now that I've made these appointments, the Senate Judicial Confirmation Committee will review Jay and Stephen's application materials, consider any public comments, and hold a confirmation hearing. The full Senate will then vote on the appointments. We look forward to working closely with the Senate leadership to ensure a smooth and timely confirmation process. We are also currently accepting applications for the 2 new vacancies on the court created by Justice Hagan's resignation. Those application windows close later this month. The Judicial Nominating Commission will begin their process after that, and I expect to be making those appointments sometime in early fall. I am confident that our process will find us 2 more fantastic justices for the people of Utah. Now, just a couple more words. I want to thank Associate Chief Justice Jill Pullman, who is here with us today, representing the court. We're grateful for her service, and I want to thank the Chief Justice, who would love to be here, who would usually be here, has had some health problems, and again recently announced his retirement. The Chief Justice is one of the finest human beings that I've ever met, a true dedicated public servant to our state. He has served as a district court judge. He served on the Supreme Court for many years. He is loved and beloved and well respected. I don't know a single person who doesn't love Chief Justice Durand, and if you are that person, then I would highly question your background and your moral character. We hate to see him retiring, but I want him to know, if he's watching, listening to this, how grateful we are every time I get the opportunity to pick a new justice to the Supreme Court. I try my very best to find a Justice Durand, and that's how much I respect him and how well respected he is in the legal community. I also want to say this. I know, and I'm sure we'll get questions about this, but there has been certainly some heightened interest in the court, in the court's decisions. It's no secret that there's been a rift, a well-publicized rift between 2 of the branches of government, between the legislative branch and the judicial branch. I think it's very important that we understand that we can have disagreements about court cases, about individual decisions, without impugning the integrity of the people who have taken the same oath that we have as elected officials to serve our great state. It is very easy and rational for smart people, for wise people, for people who love and care about our state to reach different conclusions when it comes to they're violating their oath of office. It doesn't mean that they have malign intent. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that we have differences of opinion. I suspect and I hope that we will have differences of opinion with these new justices as well. I can tell you that I push really hard on them to make sure that they aren't partisan hacks. To make sure that they care deeply about the law and that their job is to hold me accountable to the Constitution and the laws of this state, and to hold the legislature accountable to the Constitution and the law. Sure that they would be willing to rule against me and against the legislature when we get it wrong. And it may sound hard to believe, but we do get it wrong on occasion. And I'm grateful that we have this third branch of government to operate as a check on again holding elected officials accountable to the Constitution of this great state. And with that, I'm happy to take questions.
Governor, when all is said and done this year,
We've been listening to Governor Spencer Cox, who has announced his two nominees for this Utah Supreme Court, Stephen Dent and Jay Jorgensen. We're going to break down those two nominations when we come back after this.
What if you had the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Thanks to the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, you don't have to worry about that part of your future. Now through June 15th, get gig Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 years with equipment and unlimited data included, no strings, no commitments. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from online threats. Plus, you can even try Xfinity Mobile free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account taxes and fees extra after 12 months. Regular rates apply to mobile. Select Xfinity. Internet required speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable. $50 a month for 5 years. No commitments. Go to Xfinity.com.
When it's hot like this, air conditioners struggle to keep up. Parts are under more stress, and sometimes those parts fail. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and no one helps more homeowners maintain and repair their air conditioners than Any Hour Services. As a matter of fact, last year, over 32,000 homeowners called Any Hour Services for help maintaining and repairing their systems. Any Hour Services has over 100 HVAC technicians to help with everything from maintenance, repair, to installing a new system. This summer, there'll be a lot of people told they need to replace their air conditioner, and they'll wonder, do I really need to? If you're told you need to replace your air conditioner and you still have questions, Any Hour Services can give you a second opinion and let you know what options are available. Maybe it just needs a little maintenance or a small repair. Maybe it does need to be replaced, but if you don't feel good about being told you need to replace your air conditioner, don't ignore those feelings. Call Any Hour Services for help with air conditioner maintenance, repair, or to schedule a free second opinion. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
The ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion and that of the sheriff is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's H-O-P-E, or visit rain.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
And expanded Inside Sources.
We are following some developing news as Governor Spencer Cox just announced his picks to fill 2 new seats on the expanded Utah Supreme Court bench.
Yeah, and we know that the legislature at its last session expanded the Utah Supreme Court from 5 to 7 justices, so 2 new openings were created. Of course, there are 2 more that are in the process now because 2 of our justices have resigned or are in the process of resigning, so the governor's going to give another press conference here fairly soon when he appoints 2 more justices.
All right, so tell us about the people that he picked, Jay Jorgensen and Stephen Dent, to serve as the new justices. They still he's appointed them. They still have to be approved by the Utah Senate.
Yeah, they have to go through the Senate Confirmation Committee. They'll go through some Q&A with the senators there, and then that body will make a recommendation to the general body of the Senate for approval. I assume that both of them should be fine. You know, one thing that struck me, there were 12 vacancies, and let me back up.
I mean, not vacancies.
12 nominees for the vacancies. I'm sorry. The code requires, Utah code requires that you give 7 nominations for each position, but they only gave 12 for 2. And the reason I saw was because they could only find, they said that there were only 12 that were qualified for what the committee thought was qualified. I mean, obviously there are many more lawyers in Utah that are qualified. But anyway, they could have sent 14 names to the governor. They sent 12. 7 of those names are currently sitting judges in the state of Utah, from the district court and to the Court of Appeals. So they're sitting judges already right now in the state of Utah. 5 were not judges, and the 2 that were selected were from that pool of members who are not currently members of the court. I don't think that's unusual. I know people say, well, you'd expect that somebody was a judge and they've been promoted. That's not necessarily true. I think a lot of our Supreme Court justices, well, I can think of a couple that were judges before, but maybe just as many that were not.
Well, I think Dallin H. Oaks was not a judge before he sat on the Utah Supreme Court.
Right. It's not uncommon at all. It's not uncommon at all. But let me just break them down. The first one that was nominated by the governor is Jay Jorgensen. He's senior counsel for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, meaning that he is the probably the highest level attorney in that office, which would be a very, very big and prestigious office. But importantly, he has some history as a clerk, and we kind of like to know what people did after they got out of law school. He clerked for the United States Supreme Court for Justice Rehnquist when he was on the Supreme Court, and he clerked for Samuel Alito, who was not yet on the United States Supreme Court. When he clerked for Alito, he was at the Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. So he clerked for two very prestigious federal judges who both would be seen as being conservative, although that doesn't necessarily mean anything. He would just happen to be clerking for them.
I'm going to ask you a question that will make me look dumb.
Sure.
I've heard a lot about clerking and how it can be a big deal. I don't actually know what that means and why it's a big deal.
It's a pretty big deal if you want to be in certain fields in the law. So when people get out of law school, you can do one of many things, but you can join a law firm and start practicing, work for the public defenders or the Court of Appeal or the prosecutor's office, or you can clerk for a judge, meaning you're assigned to the judge. So judges have a lot to do. They have a lot of cases on their agenda, and they like to have young lawyers who can help them do research and issue opinions and write things. So they'll have, at every level it gets more. The Supreme Court, they probably have a dozen clerks. The Court of Appeals, they probably have half a dozen. The District Court probably has 3 or 4, and I'm just making up numbers out of the blue. But I know that there are law clerks who are lawyers, practicing lawyers, who instead of going right into the practice want to work with judges.
Because it gives them an experience seeing that side, researching, writing, etc., and being mentored maybe by these justices.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a job I didn't seek, but I know a lot of people that did and loved it. Really thought it was a great experience. So
thank you.
And that's a good background too. If you want to be a judge, we're sitting with judges while they're making decisions at the highest level, the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So then and it's also interesting. I'll digress for just a second. He picked one U of U grad and one BYU grad.
Oh.
So Jorgensen's the BYU. I was interested in that.
Do you think there's something there?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
He also picked people with real rural backgrounds. I mean, Jorgensen was raised in Ioka, Utah, which is a town
I had to look it up.
out in the Uinta Basin. I've ridden my bicycle by there. It's a beautiful back road that you can ride your bike forever on. It's out in the Uinta Basin. I think it's in Duchesne County. But at any rate, he was raised out there. Went to work for went to BYU, graduated from law school, certainly very near the top of his class. Worked for the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, then went to the Supreme Court. Then worked for a very big, prestigious law firm, Sibley Austin, which does not have an office here in Utah, so I don't know where he worked. Probably D.C. area. Then he was the executive vice president of Walmart. I mean, this is a man with
that's impressive,
tremendous credentials. And then he became a mission president. I mean, again, sort of doing
different kinds of leadership.
This is a man that has a lot of broad-based experience, and then he became counsel and ultimately senior counsel for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is where he works today. So, a very prestigious career for him. He would probably be a fairly good choice for the Supreme Court, or somebody that'll get through the judicial or the Senate Confirmation Committee. The second one actually is a prosecutor that I know, Stephen Dent. He works for the U.S. Attorney's Office, but he works in their St. George office, which is a much smaller office. And he and I have had cases together. He's a very, very good prosecutor and just a really pleasant man to work with. Again, has a very prestigious career. He went to the University of Utah, and he clerked for 2 judges, but not on the Supreme Court. He clerked at the district court level for Judge Shelby. Robert Shelby is a current sitting federal district court judge for the District of Utah. He's a judge you might recall, I don't know, it's been about 15 or 20 years, who issued the ruling that the same-sex marriage ruling that sort of changed the laws here in Utah.
Okay.
I don't know that Dent was involved or there at the time. It just happens to be that's the person. Then he clerked at the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals for Scott Matheson Jr. Scott Matheson Jr., of course, is the son of our former governor, Scott Matheson, and whose name is
on the courthouse
over here. Scott Matheson Jr. Has been on the 10th Circuit Court for quite a while. He was the dean of the University of Utah College of Law when I taught there.
Oh, really?
And he ran for governor the year I ran for attorney general in 2004.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, just some trivia on him. He then worked for a big firm called Gibson, Dunn & Fletcher, another big D.C. firm, and then came to Utah and wanted to be a prosecutor, went to St. George, which has a U.S. Attorney's Office. People don't know this, but we have a federal court in St. George with a judge and what they call magistrates.
Drug trafficking stuff down there.
Yeah, he's done some big cases down there. I practiced down there a little bit. Of course, most of my practice is up here, but he and I had a case together. I don't even remember what it was, and it doesn't matter. But we worked it out, and it went very well. So I thought that the picks were pretty good. I want to make a comment because we're running out of time here about the governor. Said a couple of things that I wanted to just mention for whatever they're worth. He talked about the what's going on right now, and he talked about the rift between the legislative and judicial branch, and I would say that he has been no small part of that. I mean, he certainly has jumped into that fray a little bit, but he did say that he thought these two justices would sort of bridge that gap a little bit, and not people that he said they're not partisan hacks was the word that he used, and they're not going to be making decisions like that. Then he did something else that I just wanted to mention. He talked about there are two judges that resigned.
Yeah.
Matt Durant, and then he gave this glowing review of our Chief Justice, Matt Durant. Never mentioned Diana Hagan. Never said a word about the other justice. That's which I thought was a little sad. Now, maybe he did in the Q&A, but he certainly didn't in his presentation. So Matt Durant will certainly be missed. Diana Hagan will certainly be missed. These are two openings in the Utah Supreme Court. It may very well be unprecedented that a governor will pick 4 justices for the Utah Supreme Court in the same
4
calendar
months, basically.
year, right?
Yeah.
And that's a very that's a pretty extensive thing that he's got to do, and probably some of the names that were passed over by the governor and that were submitted to him in the Judicial Nominating Commission will be sent up again.
Will reapply.
Yeah, I would think they probably will, and maybe several more, because now we've got, and these will be 2 separate nominations, I'd assume. There's an opening now for Diana Hagan's position, but Matt Durant's retirement isn't until August, and they're not going to wait that long. So there's going to be another list of names putting their name up. I'm on a Judicial Nominating Commission for the 2nd District Court, but it's just the District Court. It's not the Court of Appeals. So anyway, interesting names and interesting comments, and 2 new judges probably.
All right. Thanks for that.
Well, fewer and fewer wedding bells are chiming nowadays, with younger adults waiting for marriage. Let's have a conversation on what that means next.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top story this hour. A man is facing negligent homicide charges after police say he hit a 66-year-old woman with his car. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The Hurricane City Police Department has completed their investigation and says 66-year-old Tammy Lynn Krause was crossing State Street in a marked crosswalk when she was hit. 68-year-old Wayne Allen Levitz was trying to make a left turn onto State Street when he struck Krause. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. The accident itself was back in May, but the recently completed investigation has prompted police to arrest and book Levitz into the Washington County Jail. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary says he's not happy about Utah Senate President Stuart Adams' request to scale back the area of his Box Elder County data center project by 75%.
O'Leary did an interview with the Salt Lake Tribune, and he told them Adams never spoke with him before sending him that letter. And while O'Leary says he's not happy because that 75% haircut is not what they initially agreed on, he's also not planning on just saying no to Adams either.
That's not how I am. I don't say no to my partner. I'd consider Adams my partner. That's why I'm not happy with the 75% haircut. I felt the same way about Cox and about Schultz.
Though O'Leary says this letter could have a silver lining, he's repeatedly made claims of Chinese interference and all the public pushback, and now he says if they're more transparent, quote, all falsehoods get thrown out the window. O'Leary went on to say, quote, I'm not against it if it solves the problem. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, we've got green across the board. The Dow Jones is up 126 points. That's 0.25%. The S&P 500 is up 7 points. That's 0.9%. 0.009%, I should say. And the NASDAQ is up 10 points. That's 0.04%. Coming up, we're headed back to the 90s this week, but you can leave your Pearl Jam CDs at home. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful, locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. No accidents or delays. But in Ogden on Friday, just be aware we are anticipating high volumes of vehicular and pedestrian traffic and road closures. You can expect on Friday, June 5th this week, 25th Street between Wall Avenue and Washington Boulevard will be closed for the day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Weathers Construction creates stunning, functional kitchen remodels fast. Call 801-548-8409. Weathers Construction, build your space better. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're going to see some clouds this afternoon, but they should clear by the later afternoon. Highs are going to jump into the 80s today. Tomorrow's going to be even warmer with highs in the 90s, and we're going to see a high of 95 on Saturday. Right now, though, it's 70 degrees in Fair. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, wedding bells are getting a little quieter in this day and age, especially among our young people, Holly.
And over the last few years, there's been a notable decrease among adults in the belief that marriage is essential for a good life, according to the American Family Survey.
Yeah, people don't think it's quite as important as they did in the past. The Deseret News' Lois Collins has a new piece on this topic that I read this morning. She decided to write about that thanks to a conversation she had on a recent flight to Europe. Lois, thanks for joining us this morning.
Always a pleasure.
And you mentioned before we get into that this is not something that you thought was unique to the United States.
Well, I actually thought it was more unique to the United States than I now think it is.
Okay.
I was on a plane to Belgium for a conference on family policy where I talked to young people who were from Albania and Luxembourg and other parts of Europe. There's a guy from Portugal. And they all say the same thing. They say the exact same thing that this gal I sat next to on the plane did, which is, I think I want to marry someday. So it's not that people don't care about marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's something they're going to do someday. They're not doing it in their 20s and sometimes not even in their 30s anymore.
I think we've seen that, haven't we? In at least, so you're saying it's worldwide, but certainly we've seen it here. The age of the first marriage is going up, buying a house going up.
Everything's going up. Adulthood, to some degree, is going up because kids are not launching the way, and I say kids because everybody's a kid.
Right.
But they're not launching the way that they used to. So things get delayed, and it used to be that you had kind of a cornerstone marriage where you would meet the person you thought you wanted to spend your life with, and you would start building a life and start a family and all those things. And the order has been sort of pushed back in some cases and actually reversed. Some people start a family first and then find that partner. It's very different than it was 50 years ago.
You cited some interesting stats, too, one of which was that only 54% of young people today say marriage is needed to create a strong family. That's still over half, but only 45% of people who are interviewed, young people, say society is better off when people are married.
And that wasn't just young adults. That was adults in general.
Yeah.
So there's
because we've always thought the opposite on both of those, that that marriage, almost everybody would think marriage is needed to create a strong family.
They do think that marriage helps with finances. That was something that the survey found.
Interesting.
But as far as whether you need to be married, to have a good life, to have a good family, to have whatever, it's not essential. The way even 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, 11 years ago when we started the survey, the numbers were like 65% thought that was essential. Mm-hmm. And now it's way down.
And you're seeing that worldwide, not just
all
in the
over
United
the place.
States.
And I don't know the numbers worldwide because we haven't surveyed worldwide, but it's all over the place. And part of it is the cost of family. That's the number one concern when we ask, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
We ask how many people think in the United States that raising a family is affordable, and it was like 70% said no.
Yeah.
It's not. And that was across income ranges as well.
Yeah,
so it's a
interesting.
very different situation, and it's student debt and finding the right partner, and now it's not a cornerstone, it's a capstone. You have to feel like you're secure, you've got your career, you've got your education, you've got everything, and then you will get married.
I'm seeing that in my own kids, right?
Mine too.
Their marriage age is I've had a couple who got married younger, meaning like 19, 20, 21, but most of them are in their mid to late 20s when they're getting married, and some of them in their 30s, because it is like, I've got to make sure I have the education, and I've got to have the job, and I have to have X amount in my bank account. And, you know, I celebrate them whenever they decide to make those big life decisions, but I have seen it with my own family, right, that they're really pushing it back.
I have 2 late 20 kids, and we're having a stare down, and they're not blinking.
Yeah, you know, I noticed with my kids, who all got married, are all happily married, that there was more of a group mentality coming out of high school and college. That
very much,
you know,
so.
let's hang out with the group, and it wasn't like you really had to pair off with someone. It didn't seem like it was that important.
You went from dating to hanging out.
Yeah. It almost
and
like
if
that.
you pair off and you happen to be in one of those sort of community groups, then you're like kind of ruining the vibe, dude.
Yeah. You get married and buy a house and start having kids. You're like, hey, wait a minute.
You know, I just have to, it's not a confession, but I was 21 when I got married, and my husband was 24, and we had our first baby 12 months later, and I actually thought I was on the older end. This was 40 years ago, but I was like, I feel like an old maid, man.
There is not a lot that I can say about this. I started dating my husband when I was 35, married him when I was 36, and he was 35, and still had kids.
Right.
But I'm not the poster child for how it's supposed to be.
No, but it's not that supposed to. It's just that I think that things are changing. And so I'm actually intrigued and wondered if you could talk to us a little about the conference that you were at. So in Belgium.
Yeah, I was at a conference that was sponsored by Sutherland Institute here in Utah and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They're a European Union, and there's another word in the title that I forget, but it's that region. It was European Conference Exchange with the United States, where they're talking about family policy. And what they found is that they have the same challenges. So they've gotten together for several years now to discuss some of the challenges facing families. They invite a lot of young people in, which was great if you're a reporter and you're trying to find young people from around the world. It's very helpful that they convene it. And it's the same conversation, whether you're talking America or Luxembourg or Albania or Portugal or Germany. They're all facing the same thing. We're so tied together globally now that global economic issues impact everybody.
And it affects a lot of people and a lot of countries in a broader way. That is, Lois, and you mentioned this, that to sustain your population, you like to have a birth rate of about 2.1.
Yeah, it's the replacement rate.
Right, and now it's at 1.6, which means a lot of countries are going, hey, wait a minute, that's not something we want to...
Right.
Some countries are way lower. If you go to South Korea now, they're half that.
Right.
Yep. So it's really an interesting thing. The other thing that sustains population is immigration, and we are in an interesting moment in immigration.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I wonder, we only have a few seconds left. You talked about they want to get married. You're talking to these young people. They want to get married, but later, what do they think about having kids?
They're not sure. They know, the ones that I talk to are pretty sure they want to get married, but there's a lot of even more financial question and maturity question and other things that go into whether or not they want to have kids.
And so finances, it feels like worldwide, is impacting this decision.
That's
so it's
part of it,
not even just government programs necessarily, because there's other countries where there's a lot more government support for families, and even then there's hesitation.
Yeah, it's not 100% of the world, but it's a good chunk.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us. That was Lois Collins. Look, coming up next on Inside Sources, there's another chance for you to get some money, but it's not your traditional treasure hunt. The money that you can find is already yours. More on that next.
But before we get there, we want to remind you of a special opportunity this week to help kids and families at Primary Children's Hospital. That's right, it's our annual Give-a-thon, and it's this Thursday, day after tomorrow. Join KSL News Radio as we work towards hope, healing, and help. I got those in the wrong order. And you don't even have to wait until Thursday. You can donate now by going to kslkids.com or texting the word SMILE to 57500. And for committing just $15 a month, you can be a Smile Maker for the year. Special thanks to J&J Garden Center for being our Smile Maker sponsor.
This year, Utahns are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country, Utah style, because everything from Utah's red rock deserts to our snowy peaks are worth celebrating. It's our land, our communities. Join us in celebrating our country with Utah style. Join the statewide celebration. Get involved at america250.utah.gov. Brought to you by America First Credit Union.
Escape to the beauty of Bear Lake with an unforgettable mountain adventure at Beaver Creek Lodge in Garden City, Utah. Relax in cozy accommodations, then saddle up with Logan Canyon horseback riding for a scenic ride through the breathtaking Bear Lake Mountains. Take in stunning views of crystal blue waters, aspen groves, and wildflowers. Then enjoy lunch with panoramic views. Unwind with dinner, and of course a raspberry shake at Some Beaches restaurant in Laketown. Adventure, scenery, and relaxation. Plan your perfect getaway at bearlake.org.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio, or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Man, one of my favorite things to do is when people say, does soda really work? Come on. And I say, yes, absolutely it does. I got to eat real food and I had real success.
The structure is what helped me so much. We used to call it soda weight loss, but it's more than just weight loss. Yeah. So now it's sodadietandnutrition.com. That's SOTA for state of the art.
And it's state of the art because you work with a nutritionist. They tailor the plan to your exact needs and your exact schedule so that it can work for you. It's not just a one-size-fits-all thing.
The simplest things that bring me joy now. I can tuck in a shirt. For years, everything always had to be loose and because I felt heavy all the time. But now I can tuck in a shirt.
Remember having to suck in the belly for every picture? It was so nice not to have to do that anymore.
And summer bodies are created right now. So go online to sodadietandnutrition.com.
So join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime because Amanda, soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's Renter's Insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater brings opera, musicals, concerts, and arts education to northern Utah each summer. Their work supports students, performers, tourism, and the local community through meaningful artistic experiences. Associate Artistic Director and Education Director Vanessa Ballum joins us with more.
Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater celebrates over 3 decades of extraordinary storytelling with our vibrant 2026 summer season, running in June and July in Logan, Utah. Founded by Michael Ballum, the festival presents thrilling productions and unforgettable performances. Highlights at the Ellen Eccles Theater include 1776 featuring Michael Ballum and The Pirates of Penzance. At the Utah Theater, don't miss The Last 5 Years alongside Scalia Ginsburg and Trial by Jury, sharp, witty, and musically dazzling. From grand operatic moments to intimate musical theater, our stages offer world-class voices, lush orchestration, and striking design. Perfect for families, art lovers, and community groups, season tickets and flexible packages make attendance easy. Join us for classes, free concerts, and unforgettable summer evenings in beautiful Cache Valley. Visit ufomt.org or call the box office to reserve your seats and be a part of this Logan tradition.
Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater helps make Utah a more vibrant place to live by bringing powerful performances and arts education across the state. Their work continues to strengthen Utah's appreciation for the arts. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
So I don't know about you, but I always like a chance to get cash. And you can get some treasure from the state treasurer.
Yeah, we told you yesterday about a treasure hunt across Utah, but this one won't require you to hike through Utah's backcountry and figure out a poem.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So it's really interesting, and I don't know if you've ever done this, but there's unclaimed property that happens sometimes, and I have gotten money from this. So Utah has a fund. If you close a bank account and you forget about it, for example, or you maybe leave a business and you have some retirement funds, and then it ends up like I don't know, it just like disappears into the ether, it feels like, or you didn't collect a paycheck. I don't know. But what happens is there is money that goes into this pot. They don't use it. They just say, look, it's unclaimed property. So I have gone and found I had money in there. My kids had money in there. It's like, oh, wow, we got to go get this money, right? It's not like huge amounts for us. It hasn't been huge amounts. But Utah now has a record amount of unclaimed property.
Yeah, and it was only, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, a family member of mine was looking up on the site to see if she had any money, and so she looked under the last name Skordas, and she saw my name.
Oh, gosh.
And she contacted me, and she said, "You have unclaimed money." And what had happened was I was teaching at the law school, and it was back in the day before they had direct deposit. They would just mail you a check every couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And somehow my mail got diverted or stolen or lost or who knows what happened, but I missed a couple of checks, and I wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And there was like 3 or 4 checks. It was a couple $1,000s, but I went to the unclaimed property division. I was actually in a building by where I was working and just filled out a form, and they took my ID and got the money. It was
So
great. It wasn't like free
so-
money. I'd already earned it, but it was still
Right.
nice.
It feels like it's free money, though.
Right,
It's like
yeah.
finding that $20 bill in your coat when you put it
Right,
on
yeah,
after
exactly, yeah.
after the summer. Yeah. Okay. So actually tomorrow, the Utah Treasurer Marlo Oaks, there's going to be a thing tomorrow. They're calling it a webathon, but it's like a treasure hunt. So anyway, it really interesting. You can check it out. I think it's treasurer.utah.gov, and you can find information there.
I think it's something to look up anyway. I mean, they post billboards every
Absolutely.
once in a while.
They're like, hello.
Yeah.
It's $178.3 million that was turned over just last year. So there's a lot of money there. Maybe not a lot for you, but there might be some.
And I wonder if there's some time limit. Like at some point, the state just keeps it. I don't know what the rules are.
It
Unclaimed
says
property.
Utahns can only search for themselves, but not only for themselves, family members, friends, businesses, nonprofits, and deceased relatives. So you can actually, here's a better website, mycash.utah.gov.
There you go.
So you can go look, and maybe your great uncle left you something, a treat for you. Okay.
That'd be great.
Today is June 2nd, and it is National Rocky Road Day. And I don't mean driving, I do mean the ice cream. So Rocky Road ice cream.
It's kind of a potpourri of lots of things.
It
in the Rocky
is.
Road.
It's not. I don't love it. But it's right. It's kind of named after a rocky road.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, do you have a favorite ice cream that has stuff in it?
Mint chocolate chip
Yeah,
is the
not my
greatest
favorite.
ice cream ever made in the history of mankind.
I actually like cherry chocolate chip. That has chunks in it.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So also on this day, this is some of our fun facts for the day. I want to tell you, the zoo actually has named their leopards. So they have Amur leopard cubs. They were born earlier this spring. They finally got names. It's 2 little brothers. They're really, really cute if you haven't seen them. They were born in February, and they have gained weight. They were only 4 pounds when they were born. Now they're 12.5 pounds. The first boy was named Emilio, and the second boy was named Caspian for the Caspian Sea. Oh, they're really cute.
I wonder what
Okay.
Emilio was for. Interesting
Okay,
name.
well, I will tell you now that you asked me that question. Emilio, so they had a contest and they had people submit names. So Emilio was chosen by the Needham family, and they chose the name based on their daughter Willa's favorite actor, who is Emilio Estevez from The Breakfast Club, and as kind of a combination towards their other daughter, whose name is Emily. So that was very fun.
How fun.
Very fun. And then the second cub was named by Aaron Pinson, who selected Caspian for the Caspian Sea, but it also means white, and the cub has a big white patch on its front.
Those are beautiful names, actually.
They're they're really beautiful cubs, and they're so fun to watch, these baby, larger cats, right? Because they act just like house cats when they're kittens.
They're just little
they're so
kitties.
cute. And then one other fun fact is the Magnolia Bakery, which I have not tried, but it is wildly popular, is now open in Utah. So I'm going to have to go try their
Is that a national model or something?
Apparently, it's their banana pudding is supposed to be super famous, and so I'm going to have to try it out.
Okay, we got to find out if they have a gluten-free menu for my wife.
I don't know about that one. Okay, so on this day in history, on June 2nd, Martha Washington was born. Of course, her name wasn't Washington when she was born. It was Dandridge. It was also on this day in 1863 that Harriet Tubman led 150 black Union soldiers in a river raid in South Carolina. So if you've seen like the Harriet Tubman movie, I think it's just called Harriet, it's really an amazing scene, right? So they ended up freeing 750 slaves, and it was the only battle in the Civil War that was led by a woman, which of course makes sense.
Who Harriet Tubman is.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
you hear the name all the time. I couldn't
She was
think of...
so she was Underground Railroad. And,
Yeah, okay, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. So very, very famous. It was also on this day in 1886 that President Grover Cleveland got married in the White House. But this is weird because he was 49 and his bride was 21. It's like, I don't know about that one.
And he got married in the White House. I wonder how many weddings have been in the White House.
Not many.
By
president, I don't know if there have been more. There have been a couple of first children who have gotten married in the White House. So it was also on this day in 1924 that the United States finally decided that Native Americans in the nation could actually be citizens. 1924. I was like, thank you for that.
Right, yeah.
And then what actually happened is because that was decided on a state-by-state basis, some states are like, yeah, no, you can't vote in our elections for a while longer. So I don't know.
1924? It's only been 100 years?
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that?
I don't know.
They were the original citizens.
I know. I know.
Talk about birthright.
I know. All right. Give us your closing arguments for today.
We talked about today the governor appointing 2 new justices to the Utah Supreme Court, and I think it was very exciting news, and I have no reason to doubt that these won't be very, very fine new justices. I would also say this. You don't know what's going on in a person's mind when they're appointed to the bench. You don't know what they're going to do. And importantly, if they haven't been a judge previously and you haven't seen their writings, you haven't seen their opinions, you haven't seen where they're coming from, it's very hard to say where they're going to land on a certain issue. And I thought both judges said something very important, both soon-to-be justices, and that is, I'll follow the law, I'll follow the Constitution, because that's what our current Supreme Court has done and gotten in trouble for doing. And that's what the legislature is upset at them about, is, hey, you're not defining the Constitution right. Well, judges just define what they have. So I guess my point is this. You can't expect that these 2 new justices will cause some different angle to the Utah Supreme Court, or that will suddenly shift to the right. It's not like that. Maybe we will. Who knows where these judges are, where they're going to be in terms of their writings or their judicial philosophy. They may very well be more liberal justices than you expect. I mean, the legislature, who knows what they did here, but they expanded the size of the Supreme Court in the hope of creating a more conservative court, one that would follow what they consider to be the Constitution. There's no reason to believe that will occur based on these 2 new justices. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I love the fact that when you finally put on the robes, you're not bound by anything except your own good judgment, your own ability to follow the law, to follow the Constitution, and to do what you think is best. And I love the fact that judges are appointed for life. I mean, we have these retention elections or whatever, but they're not bound by political pressure and you got to run for office every 4 years and you have to make the public happy. I mean, they make decisions in a vacuum. They make decisions where they can actually do that without fear of retribution. Now, we've certainly had some retribution this year, and it's caused some real problems with the Supreme Court. But I would say I'm happy, I'm optimistic. I think these are going to be good justices, and I hope that 5 years from now we talk about them and say, boy, that was a great day in Utah history.
All right. Thanks for your closing arguments. Look, more road rage on Utah's roads. Folks, come on. We got to calm down. Maria Chaleos will have more on the latest incident up next on Utah's Noon News, and that's it for Inside Sources.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL